away we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Welcome in. Yeah. What a day, what a day, what a day, what a day, what a day we got lined up for you today on the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. So many things to get into, so many things to discuss, so many things to talk about. We've got the MLB trade deadline coming up at 6 p.m. tonight. What moves have been made? What moves are going to be made? How do they impact the Major League Baseball? And is there anything out there that the Bravos want to get done today? We're going to talk about that later on in the radio broadcast. We're going to get into this Aaron Rodgers thing later in the radio broadcast because it takes a pretty wild scenario to get myself and Stephen A. Smith on the same page. It takes an even wilder scenario to get myself, Stephen A. Smith, and Marcus Spears all on the same page. And that is exactly what's happened. So we're going to talk about that later on in the radio broadcast.
Well, I need to interrupt just for a second because I love to hear my voice. And also,
at least he's honest, people.
I just so you got problems with Marcus Spears? How could you not like Marcus Spears?
No, I don't have problems with
Marcus
Spears.
I know about the Stephen A. thing.
All right, let me put it this way.
Are we adding someone else to the list?
No.
Okay, all right.
No, I actually do. For the record, I actually do like Marcus Spears. I think he does a good job. I think it's more along the lines of like when you get all three of us on the same page, you know something weird's going on, right? It's not that I dislike Marcus. You know what Marcus Smith is? Marcus Smith is my dude that I could sit in a bar stool next to and fight about football, but like he's still my guy.
So this is like when the Illuminati of sports all agree on something.
No, it's like when the Illuminati and me agree on something.
Dude, see, I put you up somewhere and you just don't want to stay up there. Or
you put me in the Illuminati.
Yeah.
Well, that's not, what? No.
Wouldn't you want to be in the Illuminati?
Kind of.
Yeah, me too.
Kind of. We're going to talk about the Illuminati later on in the show, it sounds like. We've got to talk about, coming up in the next segment, the U.S. women's national team. Text her to the carpros.com text line at 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, so we can read them on the air. Says, thank you, United States women's national team, for me being so tired today after wasting my time this morning. That was a doo-doo sandwich performance, end quote. A doo-doo sandwich performance.
Did they actually say doo-doo?
Quote, D-O-O-D-O-O sandwich.
All right. Yeah.
Yep. That is a direct quote from one of our listeners. Thanks to the U.S. women's national team for making me tired today after wasting my time on a doo-doo sandwich of a performance. It was not good. It really wasn't. And this is from someone who's a supporter, someone who's very excited to talk and watch. It was bad. And I know that because I, Texter, was also awake for that match. We'll talk about it later on in the radio broadcast. And something I think Lonzo and I are both very excited about coming up this morning at 10:40 a.m. and live on the stream, which you can watch at The Fan Upstate on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, or by searching and subscribing to The Rob Brown Show on Twitch. Coming up this AM at 10:40, we will be joined by All Elite Wrestling's Darby Allin. Yep, that one. The man with no fear or respect for his own body. Darby Allin joins us coming up at 10:40 a.m. We will talk to him about what it feels like to land back first on an upturned skateboard. I assume not great.
You failed to mention that not only is he going to be live, but he's going to be live on streaming.
I said that, which you can watch at Facebook.
I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
Lonzo's not paying attention.
No.
He's got Darby Allin on the brain.
And someone just, Barstool just posted Trey Lance throwing the ball. It's so bad. I have never seen anything so bad in my entire life, and I can't get past it.
Trey Lance going to turn out to be a bigger bust than Tim Tebow.
He's not going to be on the field anyway, so it's not going to matter. But
I mean, that's
and no.
I say that qualifies as a bust, right?
No. Tim Tebow won a playoff game. I know we're going to have this argument again, but that's not a bust.
We're not going to have this argument again because you're wrong.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. He won a playoff game.
Tim Tebow was on a team that won a playoff
game.
Tim Tebow did not win a playoff game.
All right, Rob. Did he throw a pass that caused the Broncos to win the game? A touchdown pass.
Yeah, finally.
Okay, all right, dude. All right. It's there's no convincing you, but you look bad when you do that because he won. He's not a bust.
If you
he won a playoff game.
The fate of Tim Tebow, you're a terrible person. That's the argument.
I worship no man, and no. The argument is sometimes you gotta pull back that veil of red, that hatred that won't let you go. Yeah, he actually won a playoff game.
Listen, I said this. Alonso goes, I don't do that, but if you don't like Tim Tebow, you're a hate. You have
no.
Not you're a hater, which is kind of like a colloquial way of saying, I disagree, but I don't want to argue with it, which is fine. No. Rob has, quote, hatred, end quote.
All right. So you went colloquial in there, using a big word.
Good word.
That's how you shut Lonzo up because he's so simple. But no. Here's what it comes down to. You don't like the guy and you won't give him any respect at all. And he won a playoff game.
You know what I find incredible?
There are many. Did Greg Oden ever win a playoff game? That's a bust. There are a bunch of, I know it's a different sport, but there are a bunch of guys that we could bring up that never won a playoff game as a result of something they did. Those guys are busts, and girls, they're those too. But you're not a bust if you win a playoff game.
You and I have to find common ground because in an hour and 30 minutes we got Darby Allin.
Like we need to be on the same page for that. I mean, like he's surrounded by people who are in unity. I don't think so.
But I don't think there's
that dude has to deal with MJF. There's no. I mean, he could handle us, going at it a little bit.
There is nothing on the face of the planet that gets under the skin of Rob Brown faster than when I say, I feel this way, and someone else goes, no, you don't. No, you don't. Like when I have repeatedly and for years told you guys, not only do I like Tim Tebow, I promise you, I have spent more time personally one-on-one with Tim Tebow than anyone in the upstate, and I include Mark Ryan in that group.
I don't know about anybody in the upstate. He's spent some time up here, so probably there's some more people that have spent time with you. Spending more time with Mark Ryan, that's not really saying a whole lot.
Either way, the point here is I really like the guy. He's a really good guy and a very nice guy. But being a really good, very nice guy doesn't make you a good quarterback. Why are we doing this?
We're not. This isn't about him being a good or a bad quarterback. You called you called him a bust. He is not a bust.
Which is fine.
He's not a bust. He won a playoff game.
You said I have hatred. Not you're a hater.
You're right, James. He's doing the projection thing where he projects it on something else.
Did you not say that I can't let go of the hatred? Did you or did you not say that?
By the way, just because you're louder doesn't mean you're right, because I could turn your microphone down. I can do that.
Did you not say that?
I don't know if I said it or not, and neither do you. Because how many times have we went back?
You made me go to the tape during the tape. The tape's still rolling, and I got to go to the tape.
All right. There have been other cases when hosts have said this, and I've said, yeah, go ahead and do it. But you're capable.
Yeah.
What method would you go back and do that?
I will go to the scrubber on the air.
Okay.
I will scrub through the show.
As a skimmer.
While the show's being scrubbed.
I'm not trying to correct you or anything, but you didn't use the proper term. So.
I just saw you just showed me the Trey Lance video. It's not good. It's really not good. It's really not good. All right. We're not doing this. So
we already did it.
We already did it.
Yeah, we did.
We're not doing this more. We are ceasing with the doing this, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm gonna go find a pillow for you later. So because you're obviously tired and you want to fight,
Texter said Tebow was a good enough quarterback to play in the NFL, aka not a bust, and MJ is better than LeBron, and hot dogs in South Carolina are served with mustard and chili. Oh, we're just bringing out all the stops today. You forgot to say that Duke's is an inferior mayo. You stuck that on the end. You'd hit the trifecta.
That was very political, where you throw in pork in there. All this extra stuff. So if you agree with one thing, you have to agree with all of it. Okay.
Tim Tebow's a very nice guy, and he stunk in the NFL. All right. Let's get to some other stuff on the show. You know what we didn't get to? Well, we didn't get to it yesterday. How about Paul Rubens passing away? Pee Wee Herman. Hot. His last hot.
Well, that's because I think he died after his show.
I think he did. I think it was like as
because we were in the office, and you're like, "Hey, Pee Wee Herman died."
Oh yeah, that's true. I did do that. So Pee Wee Herman passes away yesterday.
Which means maybe I remember the audio better than you do because I remembered yesterday.
I'm pulling it. Now I'm going during the break to pull it. Jumpy!
It's not a very good Pee Wee Herman.
It's not. I didn't say it was. I was just going to do it anyway. Jump! I can't. I used to have a good Pee Wee Herman.
You know, if you watch us on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, you can and Facebook, you can. Rob and I during the break will do the tequila dance.
I watched a lot of Pee Wee's Playhouse as a kid. Who didn't?
I didn't because I don't think it was around when I was a kid.
Well, it was on in like the late 80s. Okay. All right. I realized that as I was saying.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Dude, it's all right.
Yeah. That's on me. That's on me.
You know, I'm a month away from being 55. I know. I understand how old I am. Okay?
I frankly repeatedly put you into my peer group,
which I appreciate.
Yeah, you're in my peer group.
That brings me back a couple of decades, so I'm all right with that.
But I work under the fact that everybody in my peer group is my age, and they're not. They're not. I got.
By the way, there's nobody in mine. I mean, no, there's not. There isn't. Everybody's either younger than me or older than me. I only know one guy around here that's my age, and he owns Borderlands Comics and Games. That's it. Everybody else is either older than me or younger than me. I do act a bit younger, so that probably helps a little. I did enjoy Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I thought it was an awesome movie.
Yep.
There was a second one, Big Top, and that was just, it got a little bit too weird.
Yes, Pee Wee Herman. That's when he got a little too weird. If you haven't seen them, and they're worth a watch. I was a big Letterman guy. All right, big David Letterman guy. I loved David Letterman. Letterman and what was the Scottish guy's name? Because I'm blanking on him. Craig. Dadgummit. Craig Ferguson. Letterman and Craig Ferguson, in my opinion, Johnny Carson as the trailblazer. But after Carson, Letterman and Craig Ferguson were the two best late night talk show hosts, and to this day remain in that position.
Who was on before Ferguson? Was it Conan? It might have been Conan.
I want to say it was Conan. No, Conan was before Leno, right?
No, Conan was doing the late show at some point. First, I think it was like Costas.
What?
Yeah, I think.
Stop it.
No, I'm serious.
Stop it.
No, I am serious. It was like
Bob Costas.
Yes, that Bob Costas.
Bob Costas was a late night TV show host.
Yes. He had to look it up because
I'm not looking it up because I'm not saying I don't believe you. I'm just saying what? Huh?
I didn't say it was good. I never said it was good.
Okay. Anyway, those two were the best. And Letterman, I always enjoyed Letterman because of just how inane, like how off the wall his stuff was, right? And there were a string of appearances by Paul Rubens as Pee Wee Herman on the Letterman show that, like to this day, will still have me just falling over backwards laughing. The dude was hilarious. How funny do you have to be to take kind of mentally unstable man-child in a tight suit and turn it into a comedy icon like Pee Wee Herman?
By the way, really quick, Bob Costas' show was called Later, and it was a nightly half-hour long late night talk show that ran on NBC from 88 until 2001.
Was it a comedy show?
And no, he just interviewed people, and it was on.
Okay, that makes more sense.
On at 1:30. So you had to be up late. Yeah, back then, believe it or not, I stayed up late. So, and I worked overnights for a while too.
Oh, here's what I didn't know it. Later is a nightly half-hour long night show that ran on NBC from 88 to 01.
I just said that. You're just repeating everything I just said.
Because I was reading everything that you were saying. It typically aired for half an hour, 4 nights a week at 1:30 a.m.
Which I just said. That's
again.
Okay.
I was not listening to you because I was reading that sentence and going, I don't know about this at all.
I'm so used to people not listening.
Well, it's because I have hatred in my heart, Lonzo.
You can keep going back to that, but the fact is, you probably just stayed up too late. But anyway,
I also did that.
But I'd rather you be cranky than what comes after that. So hopefully that doesn't like rear its ugly head when we're interviewing Darby Allin. So
I think it would.
Speaking of which, I want to interrupt one more time just because it's fun.
Sure.
And I'm trying to make him rage. We have AEW tickets to give away today. That's all. Just wanted to point that out.
I think we might have a perfect segment to give them away after too. Or before it.
No, I just have to have a certain amount of time to get it done during the break.
Yeah,
that's all. And feeble hands.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that just means that we can't tell you exactly when we're going to give away 2 tickets to Saturday Night Collision at the Bon Score Wellness Arena this Saturday, August 5th at 7:00. But what we can tell you is that it will be sometime between now and noon. So if you would like to win a pair of those tickets, stick around because we're giving them away soon. And BT Dubs, Darby Allin from All Elite Wrestling, will join us in about an hour and 25 minutes.
I guess it's by the way.
BT Dubs, by the way. Yeah.
Yes. Trey says Paul Rubens had the best death scene in cinematic history in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It lasted no, it was great. It was great. It really was. I don't know if you remember that or if you saw that. It was really good.
I never watched Buffy, but I've seen
that. No. This was from the movie. There was a movie before the series came out. Yeah.
I've never seen the TV or the movie. Either way.
It had Jungle Boy's dad in it.
Really?
Yes.
The OG Perry.
Yes, it did. He was one of the main stars.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, some of us made the brutal mistake of being awake at 3 a.m. to watch that U.S. women's national team game against Portugal. There's good news in that a 0-0 draw was good enough to earn the 1 point necessary for the Americans to move on to the knockout round. The bad news is we're going to get our asses kicked in the knockout round, and we'll talk about that when we come back. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo's on the other side of the metaphorical glass. If you'd like to be a part of the show, you can do it. 71307 is the carpro.com text line. Start your text with FAM or give us a buzz at 844-326-3663. The Rob Brown Show rolls on next. It's the Fan Upstate. Joycey Joe, the hot dog champion of the Upstate, joining us on the stream. And dropping a forget about it.
Today, high around 88. Tonight, partly cloudy, low near 67. Wednesday, slight chance for rain showers here late, but winter clouds and sunshine at all to the high around 86. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Buchinston at the Fan Upstate. Currently, it's 76.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700.
So Paul Rubens is kind of like Bobcat Goldthwait in a way. They're made famous by a certain voice, and then when you hear them talk in their real voice, you're like, wait. That's not real? That's not how you normally talk? You ever heard Bobcat Goldthwait talk?
Yeah.
It's just so weird.
Yep. Who else is there? Who else would you put in that group? Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens, Bobcat Goldthwait. It's very, very rare, but Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah. I put Diesel in that group. You guys have never heard his real voice before, right?
I guess I haven't either.
Spanish fast. With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel,
Texter says, need a wellness check on Ray. He may have jumped after that segment.
I don't know. We haven't heard from Ray in a while.
It has been a minute. Maybe he got mad that we called him out.
No. It's the guy who I think it is. He takes pleasure in just his name being mentioned. Even if it was a fake name.
His name.
Yes. To Ray, he continues to create content for the show.
Maybe that's why he stopped.
He achieved his goal, and now he is an icon, I suppose.
He has made himself a legend on the show. But here's the thing. He did it, if that is correct, if that's him, he goes by the name Ray on the show now, so he can't be like, hey, they're talking about me.
People like that, they don't, it's not about the adulation from fans and people coming up going, hey, you're Ray. It's yeah, that's me. That's all they need. That's all they need.
Can you put me in utility real quick?
We should be expecting to see from a team that survived Portugal and survived to get to the round of 16. I appreciate them taking care of the fans, but let me tell you.
What the? Was Hank Hill in there?
I have never witnessed, and just seeing these images for the first time right now on the desk, I've never witnessed something like that. There's a difference between being respectful of the fans and saying hello to your family, but to be dancing, to be smiling. I mean, the player of the match was that
post. In stoppage time, Portugal had what should have been the goal that put us out of the World Cup. And the girl hit a beautiful strike, and it hit the post and bounced back out. If that is an inch to the left, we're eliminated. And Carly Lloyd dropped. The player of the match was the post.
Vegan raw food diet influencer Zana Dart dies of starvation. Okay.
ACC and SEC team preview series. We've got Kenny Top and so much more, all on a Super Tuesday episode.
Number one for real afternoon sports talk.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
3 to 7. The Fan.
Upstate.
Listen on the Odyssey app. Search the Fan.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob and the great one, Witness and Pitt, coming your way every single morning here on the Fan Upstate.
By the way, the boss kind of likes the name.
It's not funny.
He kind of likes the name. I got him to chuckle with it. So I mean, it's hard to get him to laugh. Got him to chuckle. So we got to do something with that.
My favorite things are the inside jokes on this show that last a long time. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about it this morning. I had yesterday, I went out in the afternoon with a couple of buddies, and we did cigars at Bourbon while the sun was still up because we're grown-ups and we do what we want. And we got done, and I was leaving, and another guy walked up and was like, "Hey, dude, I don't mean to bother you. Are you Rob?" I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Cool." And we talked for a couple minutes. You know, he listens to his show, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, "I do have a question for you. I hear you every now and then just like randomly say the word boat. What's that about?" So I explained it to him so that he didn't think I had like a nervous tick that manifested itself in just saying the word boat for no reason. And he's like, I get it. And he said, you should do like every now and then, like every 6 months or something, you should do a noob's guide to the Rob Brown Show. My word's not his. He said you should do like a reset on all the inside jokes and everything. So we may have to do that one day. We also, we haven't done in a while. We also have not done an get to know your host segment in a while. A get to know your host show where you guys are allowed to ask us literally anything you want.
Wow.
Zoe and I, as long as it doesn't alert law enforcement, are going to answer them honestly.
Hey man, get out of my business.
All right. U.S. women's national team last night goes 0-0 with Portugal, and that's good enough to move on, but it's not good enough. It's just this whole tournament has been not good enough. You had a 3-0 win in the opening round against Vietnam, a team made up of a country that has a population the size of California. Can't beat them. I mean, we beat them 3-0, but the over-under that game was 6.5. 6.5. Then you had number 2 against the Dutch, a team that, again, is good, but should be beatable. We took a 1-1 draw that needed a miracle goal for that one. And then last night up against Portugal, who's probably not as good as the Netherlands. And not only did the Americans walk out of there very fortunate to have a 0-0 draw, because the Portuguese, in the dying breaths of the game, had a run on goal and should have had a goal. Fortunately, the shot went about 2 inches right and clanged off the post. The Portuguese should have won that game last night, and we should be eliminated right now. Fortunately, we're not. Because, hey, even the best teams have an off day, and I'd like to credit it to being a really bad off day. The first 2 games both took place at 9 o'clock at night in New Zealand. Last night took place at 1 in the afternoon in New Zealand. That's why it was 3 a.m. here. But it was a bleep poor performance from the American women. You guys know I'm a fan. You know I go to bat for these gals constantly. But I also have to be real. And real talk, that was not good enough. It just wasn't. And I got to thinking, and then Carly Lloyd confirmed for me. There were 2 things that happened with Carly Lloyd. Now, I will tell you that, for full disclosure, I have a bit of a soft spot for Carly Lloyd. And I have a soft spot for Carly Lloyd because a number of years ago, during the, I want to say, 2015 World Cup, when Carly Lloyd was a big member of the team, when that World Cup was going on, Carly Lloyd came on my show like multiple times. She came on it to preview the World Cup. She came on it once live from the World Cup, and then she came on my show at the conclusion of the World Cup. I think it was the first of the last 2 that we won. So I've always appreciated Carly Lloyd. She gave me some good stuff. We'll try to get her on this show sometime in the near future. But Carly Lloyd, Lonzo, she got that dog in her. Last night, there were 2 things that happened with Carly Lloyd. I'm going to play you the first one, followed by reading you the clips from the second one. After the game was over, the American women made their way to the sideline, and they were yucking it up. They were laughing, dancing, jucking, jiving, having a grand old time. And Carly Lloyd saw that video for the first time when she was live on the air on the Fox Sports postgame show, and this is how the whole crew, including Carly Lloyd, reacted to it. All right, sorry, I thought I clipped that out. Clearly, Alonzo, I didn't. So, Carly drops the player of the match.
I thought it was fanfare announcing that we were back.
Yeah. Carly says the player of the match was that post. And Carly was right.
Will her saying that motivate the team any at all? Will they even hear about it?
God, I hope so, because what we got last night was TRASH, trash.
Do people really care about this? I mean, there are people that are really into it like you, but the casual fan who might have been able to get into watching this, like I saw a commercial yesterday of a woman telling her daughter that she's watching this. Did her daughter just stroll in at 3 a.m.? Or like 6-year-old daughter stroll in at 3 a.m. and catch her mom watching women's soccer?
Look, it's 3 a.m. and I understand the overwhelming majority of y'all are responsible adults. I'm not. So I was up watching it, and
they're not going to catch the casual fan when something is like this goes on somewhere else.
Correct. It's a hard thing to do. Now, what is going to happen is, and this is a weird thing about sports in the modern era, this game's going to be replayed on Fox today. So if you missed it, you can still watch it. But again, in the age of social media,
wow, let me go watch that tie.
When you wake now again, and this is one of those places where, like, on one hand, like, I got a foot in your world, and then I got a foot in the soccer world. And the reality is, I have seen some damn good 0-0 ties.
So you're straddling a fence of some sort.
I sure am. I have seen some really, really entertaining, compelling 0-0 games, and I've seen some really boring 5-4 wins. It just kind of comes with the territory of this sport. And if you don't get it, you don't understand it, watch some games with someone who does. We'll explain it to you. But the last game, the game against the Netherlands, the game that took place last Wednesday when I was up in Charlotte, was the highest rated group stage Women's World Cup game in America. The numbers are still growing. The thing here, and this is what scares me more than anything else, a part of the reason the numbers were growing across the United States of America is because of how good the women's team has been. We have been dominating. We have won back-to-back. We were going for star 5, consecutive star number 3. And I'll tell you, after what I saw last night, I'm not confident we're getting it. I don't think we're getting it this year. It was a bad look last night. So, after that was over, there was another quote that came out from Carly Lloyd, who is the woman that you heard at the end of the clip that we just played for you. And it was really interesting. She left the United States women's national soccer team around 2019 going into 2020. And she said, I made some comments when I retired in 2021. I felt a shift within this team and federation, the culture and mentality. The importance and meaning from winning has changed. The importance now comes from what comes from winning. That last line is a gut punch, dude. The importance and meaning from winning has changed. The importance now comes from what comes from winning, right? So what Carly is saying here is that when she played for the team, and I have to be guarded about this because it is very similar to when you listen to any generation talk about the last generation, right? Oh, they're bad, they're lazy, they're uninspired, they're unartistic, yada, yada, yada. Every generation says that about the next generation, and athletics is no different. So I do take it with a grain of salt, but I thought about it a lot, and I'm like, it's not a bad theory. Carly basically said when Team USA was not just the dominant team in a World Cup, but we were clearly the most dominant women's soccer team on planet Earth. The attitude, the mentality was, we win because we want to win. And she is saying that now they are not going out to win because they want to win. They're going out to win because of all of the attention or whatever that comes along with winning. There's a difference.
All right, I'm a little confused. If you win because you want to win, why did you do all that complaining about being underpaid?
I mean, you still want to get paid.
Because that would imply that you win because you want to get paid. That's what it looks like to me. I mean,
Carly Lloyd was not with the team when the debate over the contract stuff happened. She had retired already.
Okay. All right.
But second off, and this is a whole nother conversation that we're going to have later, courtesy of Jim Irsay being freaking hilarious, not intentionally. I mean, you can want to win, but also want to be compensated for it. You and I, Zoe, are going.
We want to win. We want what? We got to do it for free? No, man. No, I don't want none of that.
I'm sorry. Are you and I not going in 2 weeks over to Columbia to pick up some hardware? If our boss came down and said, great job winning back-to-back trophies, boys, we're not paying you this month, your reaction would be?
All right. I don't get where we're going here.
They want to win.
No. What I'm saying is don't act like you're not playing for the money because you are. That's all I'm saying. And if you want to play for the money and pride is on the line also, you can have both, but don't imply that you only play to win not to get money.
I don't think she implied that at all. I think she said the important.
I thought you did. So maybe maybe I just
No,
misunderstood.
not at all. I'm saying you can play to be a great competitor and have a ridiculous drive to win and also want to be fairly compensated for your work. And that's a whole different discussion we'll come back to at another time. I'm also saying that you and I am rocking some red sequins and you're rocking a duster in a week and a half to go pick up some hardware.
I'm going as a representative of the Boot Barn.
I'm there.
I'm going to talk like this the entire night.
And yet, I'm assuming that if the boss came down here and said, we're going to give you both a 50% raise, we both go, yay!
I would say, all right, stop joking. That's funny.
I would say, I'll have what he's having, sir. So I get what she's saying here, right? Because on one hand, I have been firmly in support. And let me go ahead and just get myself in a little trouble with some of you. I have been in a little trouble because I have had the backs of these women's national soccer players during some, not all, of their protestations over the last couple of years of Megan Rapinoe and some of the other players when they have gotten into some hot water about kneeling. And now the big controversy is they're not singing the anthem. Oh, my pearls have been clutched. They're not singing the anthem.
Why are you saying that way? Because
it's a ridiculous controversy from people who just want drama.
If you're representing a country and another country, you just want to dog your country who's, paying for you to be there and all that kind of stuff.
By just not you're standing at attention, hand on heart, but you're not singing. The situation is no matter what they do, it will never be enough. That's my point.
So maybe if they just can't sing and it's screeching and it would sound really bad, if that's the reason why they're not singing, I completely get that, but at least give it a shot.
Okay. I will keep that in mind next time you and I go to a sport. I'm not saying you. I'm saying the royal you as in the listener. But I said this to a listener yesterday. The next time that you and I are anywhere in public and I hear the anthem, I will expect you to stand and sing no matter where we are.
You don't do that?
Do I sing it? No. Do I stand? Absolutely. Every time.
Why not?
Do I sing? No.
Why?
Because I don't want to.
So it's out of protest or
I just don't want to.
Why would you not want to do that? Why would you not want to be a part of the crowd? I thought normally that's what you did. So I've
been to a lot of games. There's about 10% of the audience that sings the national anthem in a given event. I don't understand why. Okay. Why are these women held to a different standard?
All right. The greatest moment, one of the greatest sports moments of my life was at a softball game when the music didn't work and the entire crowd started singing the national anthem.
Fantastic.
I felt that,
sure.
and because I love my country.
Sure.
But if you don't, that's fine. I mean,
because I got hatred in my heart, Lonzo.
Well, I wasn't talking about you. I mean, if you're not singing the national anthem, it's because you don't want to outshine everyone around you because everyone knows what a wonderful voice you have, and I get that. You want them to take the pleasure of going, man, I'm singing this well. And then Rob Brown starts singing this like, man, why do I even bother? Listen to that angelic voice.
Yeah, that's it. People want to cause a controversy just to have a reason to dislike them, and this is the latest one. But we'll come back to that because I do want to.
Maybe if they won more, it would help. A tie.
Yeah, they've only won back-to-back World Cups.
They didn't though. How many players were on that team?
Half.
Okay,
about half.
All right.
And about a third of them were on both of the teams that won World Cups and are now going for number 3.
Man, how old are they? Maybe that's the reason why they're not playing so well.
It's a big part of it.
Yeah. It's
Alex Morgan looks out of sorts. Megan Rapinoe checked in as a substitute and then, I'm sorry to say, sucked. She ran out of gas. She was bad in that match. Alex Morgan was very good with possession of the ball inside the attacking third, but had zero finishing. Rose Lavelle took her second yellow card, had to be really tentative the rest of the match, so she didn't catch another, and she was bad last night.
Wait.
Was
is
no
Dabo,
element.
Is Dabo Swinney the coach of this team?
No.
Because of the loyalty to the players, even though there may be better players there. I'm just curious. I mean,
This game was clumsy. It was clumsy. It was poorly orchestrated. It was beyond ridiculous. It was just bad. Just top to bottom, it was bad. I think the coaching has been very poor. Vlatko Andonovski is, as far as I'm concerned, getting to the point where I'm considering the hot seat, right? Like I'm considering the hot seat. The U.S. has gone in. We have not had a cohesive game plan in any of the 3 matches so far. Basically, The plan under Andonovsky has been, let's just go out athlete everybody. And that worked when Alex Morgan was 25 and 27. That worked when Alex Morgan was able to dominate everybody. But she's 34 now. She's not going to be outrunning 22-year-olds up and down the pitch. Can't happen. That worked when Megan Rapinoe was in her prime over the last couple of World Cups. But Megan Rapinoe is almost 40. She's my age. She ain't running with the 22-year-olds no more. It's just not. So the problem is Andonovsky has had this ability the last 2 World Cups to basically say, it really doesn't matter what we do. We're just going to out-athlete everybody, right? We've all seen those teams in every sport at every level. We've all seen the team that comes out and they just out-athlete. It doesn't matter what their game plan is. They can do whatever the hell they want because they're faster, bigger, smarter, stronger than you are. They're just going to out-athlete you. But guess what? That ain't us no more, because by relying on those veterans so much the last 2 World Cups, you're grooming your new players during this World Cup. You can't groom a player for the World Cup in the World Cup. They got to be ready before. And so you got players like Trinity Rodman. You got players like Lindsey Horan, Lynn Williams, who got the start over Trinity Rodman, and they're not ready. And Andonovsky's plan was go out there and be better athletes. Just go be a better soccer team. And they're not anymore, because they're relying on 34-year-old Alex Morgan and 38-year-old Megan Rapinoe late to come on as a sub. Why are you sending out, I love her, but why are you sending out a 38-year-old Megan Rapinoe when this team needs a goal late? Why? I love Megan, I do, but she ain't her anymore. She's just not. This is where the unfortunate reality of sports kicks in. There comes a point where even the greatest ain't got it no more. And at some point, you got to go, I love you. I appreciate everything you did for my team, for this team, for us, for our community, for our country. But you being out there, while it's a nice sentimental feel, is making the team worse. Now, if Alex Morgan can't put the ball in the net, I don't need her out there anymore. I love Alex Morgan. She's one of my favorite athletes of all time. I lost it when I moved here, but I owned an Alex Morgan jersey. I can say, and I don't mean this to be bad, but it is the only female athlete's jersey I've ever owned was an Alex Morgan jersey from the first World Cup she won. Love her. She's great. She's one of my favorite athletes. But if she can't score, there's no point in you being out there. Move and let one of the young girls get out there who's got legs underneath her. All right? Megan Rapinoe, again, love everything she's done as a player for this team and for this country. But homie, if you can't create space on the wing and send in crosses to the striker, you're making us worse actively by being out there. And Andonovsky, if you can't look at this team, recognize that we just can't go outrun everybody like we used to. It used to be just bring up a pass, counterattack, send everybody, and we're just going to outrun you to your own defensive back line. We can't do it anymore. Or at least not with the lineup that we have now. If you can't come up with a game plan that takes advantage of the youth and athleticism that we have this year for the first time and mix it with the wisdom and the leadership of the vets, if you can't gel those 2 aspects of the team, one of 3 groups has to go. The legacy players got to go, the rooks got to go, and you rely on a chess match, or you got to go. Because that was unacceptable. We got Sweden in round 1. We got Sweden in round 1, and then we're going to catch either Denmark or Japan in round 2. Y'all, we're not winning this World Cup. Unless something dramatic changes, we're not winning this World Cup because we don't have a plan. We're just trying to out-athlete everybody, and we're in our mid-30s. As someone in their mid-30s, nope, not no more. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Math not my strong suit, but mid-30s, I'm just.
If I put 30 and 31 on one side 38 and 30. Nope, I'm on the back end. Damn
Yeah,
it. I was gonna go within 39 and 40, but then I realized 40 is not in your 30s.
Yeah, it's not.
The Panthers added 3 players on Monday. Defensive lineman Nick Thurman, linebacker Deion Jones, and defensive lineman LeBrian Ray. Fourth-year defensive tackle Bravion Roy was waived to make room for Ray. The Angels beat the MLB leading Braves 4-1 on Monday. Louis Rengifo, Randall Grichuk, and Chad Wallach hit solo homers out Charlie Morton. Matt Olson,
Charlie Morton.
89th RBI made it 2-1.
So
Twins as the only teams with 200 homers before August. Atlanta began the game with 31 more homers.
Bling, 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 bling.
To do that sort of thing would be amazing.
Nope. He didn't buy Twitter to troll. He bought Twitter because he overvalued it, and then he lost the lawsuit.
Well, he no longer owns Twitter, so there's that.
He doesn't own Twitter anymore?
No, he owns X. So, I mean, you know.
So dumb. It's so dumb. I'm tired. I've tried to be very nice. Elon's an idiot. He's a brilliant idiot.
Yeah, I'm sure he's crushed now to hear that. Wait, Rob Brown said what? I got to change my ways, man. What do I do?
Come on the show. Elon.
How do I get back in those good graces?
Change it back to Twitter.
I'm like in Tim Tebow and Urban Meyer.
One rebrand.
One rebrand.
Texter said, Rob, need a wellness check on Ray. I believe he may have jumped after that segment. Well, we've got on the show today, Pee Wee Herman, late night shows hosted by Bob Costas. And
I still think it's
soccer.
funny. I still think it's funny you didn't know that. So
I've never heard of it.
I never
said.
I never said it was a quality program. I just said
it existed.
said it was on. Yeah, and I watched it a great deal because I was up. You
Yeah.
know,
I mean, if it was still on, I probably would know about it. But
he had some good guests.
I believe it. Costas is a fine interviewer. I just didn't know it existed.
And no, it
also
didn't.
ended when I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah,
so.
there you go. It didn't devolve into baseball questions all the time either. He talked, believe it or not, on the early years of this station, we carried Bob Costas.
Really?
Yeah, he had a or no, that was actually on Word. He had a talk show that we carried on Word. I get him confused sometimes because, you know, I've been here for both for so long. So
Texter said, Rob, doo-doo sandwich sums it up. Yes, that game this morning was a doo-doo sandwich. I will agree with you. To the point that I will now say doo-doo sandwich at least one more time on this show.
Did he say doo-doo?
Texter said, that's funny. Wrestling fan Alonzo making fun of the world's sport. Narrow-minded, are we?
By the way, if you are a soccer fan, good for you. I'm not necessarily one. If you're into cricket, good for you. If you're into track and field, good for you. And yeah, I'm entertained by wrestling. We're talking. I don't understand the text, but you know that's okay. You go back to the drawing board and you come up with something a little bit better, and then maybe Rob will read it next time.
Texter said, I am actively cheering against the U.S. women. I hope they lose big time. That's sad. That's sad. I prefer personally to support Americans representing America internationally, but to each their own, right?
Well,
That's
if
fine.
they actually represent while they're there, but they're not doing that because they're not singing the anthem. That's right. That's okay.
Oh,
That's all right.
This is me clutching my pearls. No.
Someday you're gonna have this thing when you get older and you change from one side of the aisle to the other, and then things suddenly your perspective will change, and it's gonna be fun to watch.
Singing my song.
No, it's our song.
I mean, not according to these people. That's not their song because they're not singing it, so they must hate it.
You know, Canada awaits. That's where most of those people said they were moving
Canada,
to,
by the way, a
and
very lovely country.
they never went to. No, you described it as America's hat, and I will never get that out of my head.
That's just because it's funny.
It's hilarious.
It's a lovely country. All right. Coming up in the next hour of the radio broadcast, we got a couple of things we need to hit on. It is MLB trade deadline day, 6 p.m. this evening will be the final moments that Major League Baseball players can be sent away or brought in. So what names might we see before the end of the day? We'll talk about that later in the show. We'll talk about this Jim Irsay thing later on because he put me, Spears, and Smith all on the same page, which is a weird trios championship team, but we'll go for it. Talk about that later in the show.
It'll be a fun conversation to have you three in the room.
It'd be a very loud conversation.
Yeah,
to have us three in the room.
I would struggle with levels, but you know.
Yeah, you would. It'd be you'd be fighting that board. And plenty more, including potentially a very large development in college conference expansion coming up this afternoon when the Pac-12 leadership all meet together to discuss a media rights deal that they allege is happening but hasn't happened yet. We'll talk about it later on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Oh, and Darby Allin's going to be here at 10:40, in case we haven't mentioned that yet.
It's 10:40. I thought it was 11:40. Oh no, I'm nervous. Actually, I'm nervous. I just, you know.
Oh, it's going to be great. I watched a few of his interviews last night and a couple more this AM, and he seems super easy to talk to.
I don't do that because I'm afraid that I may ask a question that's already been asked, and I like asking questions that I hope haven't been asked. But we'll see. I may not get to ask a single question because Rob may ask the first question and he may go for 15 minutes. That's what's cool about an interview.
He seems like a type of dude that understands, like, don't give a 2-word answer, but don't go on for 10 minutes.
By the way, Darby, if you're checking out the show, trying to decide, trying to fill us out, if you want to go for 10 minutes, do it. I mean,
I'm not telling you not to.
We're just like dudes at different stages of life, man. I think the bigger question, Trey, is are Rob and I prepared? Because, we may not have anything ready to, we do, but that's always a possibility. Still, how cool is my job? Got to interview Sergeant Slaughter last week, Darby Allen today. I've interviewed Booker T. I've interviewed Charlotte Flair. I've interviewed Matt Hardy, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, the Murder Hawk, Road Warrior Animal. So many. High school me would have said, "No, man, you're not doing that. That would require talking. You can't do that." And there are still times when it's like, yeah, you should not be talking now.
CarPro.com. You now have a friend in the car buying business, and it doesn't suck. And it's free. CarPro.com.
So, I know that interesting bathroom stories are kind of like a thing that we do on the stream and on this show.
I think the people look forward to that.
I have an interesting bathroom story.
Okay, cool.
I don't know who it was. I don't know who was in there. But someone was in the stall. And I heard them aggressively blowing their nose, but it was just like, it was the empty nose sound, where it's just wind coming out, right? And then on like the 5th or 6th blow, I heard 2 things followed by one more thing. I heard a popping sound as if whatever they were blowing shot out and was audible. And at the same time that you heard, I also heard a rectal discharge followed by a small plop. So whoever it was in there blew their nose so hard that they got...
Oh, okay. Okay. So you're talking about their nose. I thought you were talking about something totally different.
I am. They went so hard that whatever was stuck in there came out, and they went to the bathroom at the same...
So it's like when you get water in your ear and you push on your nose.
Yes,
and
but
it's
they were
okay.
blowing their nose. And I heard... And then I heard whatever it was lodged in there, I heard it pop out, followed by the rectal discharge, then followed by this individual going, "Got it," to themselves. They actively said to themselves, "Got it."
Well, there's only one person who would have said that.
I don't know whose voice it was.
And he doesn't.
And I didn't stick around to find out.
And he's upset about you saying yeah so much.
Yeah.
There's only one person who would have said that.
I'll find out because I'll ask him.
He's the only one who would have said that.
He went, "Got it."
Yeah, it was him.
Himself.
It was him. It was him. And when you ask him, he'll own it.
Oh, he absolutely would own it. And for the record, I respect him for that.
You can narrow things down, the time of day, who's here, all that kind of stuff. You can get within 2 people. You could also, when you walk in, just see whose feet are under the stall. I mean, if they're little feet, we know who it is. Never. I don't think I've heard it called that before, but I know exactly what you're talking about, Trey. Not saying I haven't done that either.
Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, y'all. Good to have you. What's happening? How's everybody? Y'all doing all right?
Yeah!
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 We got a lot to get to in this hour of the radio broadcast. If you'd like to be a part of it, you can do so. The carpros.com text line's open for you at 71307711307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the radio show. You can also give us a buzz on the fan phone, 844-326-3663, 844-326-3663. And, of course, you can X us. Hey, is that thing done?
I did some stuff to it.
Did you?
Yeah, you just wait.
All right, I will.
I even had an expert listen to it.
An expert?
As if I'm not an expert. Also, another award-winning producer also listened to it.
I like it.
And had a suggestion, and I followed it just because. I didn't necessarily agree with it, but I followed it just because.
What the X is going on? Twitter trending topics catches a rebrand courtesy of Elon. So that'll be at the end of the show. Coming up in 38 minutes, we'll have Darby Allin from All Elite Wrestling joining the show. AEW will be live this Saturday night at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena for Saturday Night Collision.
Hey, you guys want to go? You want to go? You want to go? Not now. Not now, but eventually.
Oh, no, it's Saturday night.
No. Yeah, it's so sometime in the next 2 hours, we're going to give away tickets.
Yes, we are. Sometime in the next 2 hours, we will be giving away a pair of tickets to Saturday night's All Elite Wrestling Collision. It is going to be a great show. We're getting MJF and Adam Cole, baby. We are getting CM Punk versus all... Crap, I forgot his catchphrase.
Ego?
No. Starks.
The Revolution will be televised. Yeah. It's like, I thought.
Absolute.
Absolute. There it is. You knew it started with an A. It's okay. It's
anyway,
all right.
Come see AEW this Saturday.
It's all right. Rob stayed up and watched soccer last night.
Rob did stay up and watch soccer last night and regrets it. Not do I regret staying up watching the soccer. I regret staying up to watch that doo-doo sandwich of a game.
There we go. Is there like an over-under about how many times you're going to?
I set it at 6.5, and I feel like I'm going to nail the
Okay,
over.
cool. Because we're, just a little over halfway. No, we're not even halfway. So
not
we're
even
good.
halfway. We're hitting 6.5 for sure. For sure. So we'll get into that later on. We got Darby Allin coming up in about 37 minutes. Looking forward to that conversation. That's going to be fun. But let's get into a couple of other things real quick here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. By the way, X me. Oh, don't like it. Don't like it.
X us, yo.
You can X us at the Rob Brown Show at Lonzo on Word.
I still hear that song. I wish that song would be something different.
What song, Lonzo?
Let's put the X in. I wasn't even that good of a Kiss song. It wasn't really, but that's, X is not something that's just mentioned. The letter X.
Correct.
It's
It's very specific.
Mentioned.
It has a connotation to it.
Does it?
Yeah, oh, yeah. How does it not? If I was to say, go watch some X videos, you're telling me your brain doesn't immediately go, nah, not at work.
No, when I think of X, I think that for Family Feud.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart.
It needs some blessing.
You
it
sweet
does.
summer child.
Yes, that's me.
Let me get clip 4, if you don't mind. This is going to lead into college football expansion talk, but I freaking love this clip. Oregon coach Dan Lanning was asked at Pac-12 Media Days about Colorado's decision to leave the Pac-12 and move back to the Big 12, and was asked if the departure of Colorado was going to be a detriment to the Pac-12, which Oregon right now may leave, but is making it publicly optics, making it seem like they want to stay. And Dan Lanning, when asked about Colorado leaving the Pac-12, said this.
Not a big reaction. I mean, I'm trying to remember
what they won to affect this conference. I don't remember. You remember them winning anything? I don't remember them winning anything.
Oh, got him. That's yeah. That's hilarious.
I just realized I got to get a burn sound because that was a burn.
It was a burn. It was absolutely a burn. I don't know, man. That's hilarious. That's hilarious to me because on one hand, he's got a point.
He even did that. Could you tell me when?
Yeah.
What
Do you guys remember them winning?
You know, because I don't. Yeah, I don't.
I thought about it a bunch, and I don't remember them winning anything at all ever. They moved over in what 2012 or whatever. One winning season. Scratch that. One not losing season for the Buffs. But as I've told you guys a number of times, Colorado's not moving because Colorado has great football. Colorado's moving because Colorado right now, even if it's temporary, has value because the eyes are on CU courtesy of prime time. People are paying attention to Colorado because of Deion Sanders.
Hey, come on, man. Coach Prime.
Sorry. Coach. So Deion, Mr. Sanders.
Come on, man. Coach Sanders.
Mr. Sanders has eyes turned to the Buffs for the first time in a very long time, and the Big 12 is capitalizing on that. Now, maybe it doesn't pay off. Maybe Deion stinks and Colorado goes back into obscurity, but maybe he doesn't, and maybe they don't. And hence, the valuation. But now it gets very interesting because now the Pac-12 has their next meeting. It's today. They have their next meeting scheduled for today where leadership of that conference will all sit around a big old table together and they will discuss what comes next, particularly pertaining to the media rights deal. Now, what's interesting is that now we have a particular line of discussion within the Pac-12. And that line is the four corner states, the four corner state colleges and universities. Colorado was one. They are gone. Now there are three more: Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah. Those are the three remaining of the four corner schools, as they are called out in the Pac-12. So this to me is interesting because on one hand, you have got the presidents of those schools being largely non-committal about leaving or staying at this point. And the reports are coming in. Pete Thamel put up a piece for ESPN where he quoted a, quote, industry source, end quote, who told Thamel, and I quote, "I don't see any of them having the fortitude to break up the Pac-12 themselves. They'll break as three. It's either going to be all three leave or none leave." And a large part of that is going to be predicated based on what George Kliavkoff says in that meeting today. George Kliavkoff has one job today. And that one job that he has is to sit at a table with the leadership of the remaining Pac-12 schools, including these three, and convince them that that media rights deal, you know, the one they've been talking about for like 3 years now, the one that they have put multiple deadlines out that have all passed without a media rights deal being announced, you know, the one that Kliavkoff was certainly trying to imply was in place before Pac-12 media days, but then when they got there, immediately shut down conversation about that media rights deal before it even got off the ground, right? He's like, hey, y'all, don't ask me about it because we're not doing it while we're here at media days, which is kind of silly if it's in place, because if you have it in place, why would you not announce it when all of the media is in one big hotel room, right? And you can control the narrative. If you've ever worked in politics or the top-level corporate world, strategy numero uno is to control the narrative. I worked in public relations for local politics for a while. And you would not believe, when I was the public information officer for Okaloosa County down in the Florida Panhandle, how many times county commissioners opened my door and said, Rob, I got to get out ahead of this narrative. I got to get out ahead of this. I got to control this narrative. That's objective number one. So if there was a deal in place, or even if you had the gentleman's agreement in place and you were just waiting on the contract to come through, you would announce it at Pac-12 Media Days. Not only so that you could do it and get the most bang for your media buck, right? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pac-12 Media Days. It's an absolute honor to have all of you here with us today. Before we start breaking down football teams, we would like to make the announcement that the Pac-12 does have a media rights agreement in place, the details of which will be released to you soon. And then you do another breakout later and you go, here are the tentative details. You control the narrative. First, the distribution, then what the story actually is. Because if anybody wants a quote, they're right there. They're literally next to you. But they didn't do that, which says to me, they ain't got a media rights agreement. So Klyakov has to come into this meeting today and has to blow these schools away with the potential revenue that they would make by staying in the conference when the media rights agreement expires. Do you know when it expires? At the end of this school year. At the end of this school year, the media rights agreement expires. And right now, there's not another one on the books, which means that if the schools bowl, you know why Colorado is leaving at the end of the Pac-12 deal? Because by getting out now, they likely, pending legislation, I believe, or litigation, I believe, pending litigation, they're not going to have to pay an exit fee. Remember the big discussion about Texas and Oklahoma was they decided to pay a few extra $1 million to get out a season before we thought they would to move over to the Southeastern Conference. We'll make up that lost exit fee money with SEC television revenue money because there's a lot of that. So these schools have a clean out if they want it. Just wait until the end of the school year and bounce. And by the way, if the Big 12 does want Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah, they will very clearly make that known now. That's what kicked this Colorado thing off last week. We're in the middle of the week, and the Big 12 puts out a notice, hey, if Colorado wants in, we're going to let them in. Everybody was like, who said they want in? The next day, Colorado voted to move over. So if the Big 12 is truly looking at Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah, which are three of the biggest remaining targets out of the Pac-12, the other ones being Oregon, Oregon State, Washington, and Washington State. If they want them, they can jump right now. Now, there's a couple of other things going on. Aside from George Klyakov having to go in front of the Pac-12 Media Days today and try to convince them that there is money to make it worth sticking in the Pac-12 when they don't have a deal. They just don't. My old man was a very shrewd businessman. He told me all the time, great one, if you don't have a signed contract, you ain't got boat. And that's kind of where they are right now. So he's got to, without a signed contract, try to convince the rest of the Pac-12 leadership that they got boat. They ain't got boat right now. And on the flip side, and this is the one thing that might buy George Klyakov's and the Pac-12 more time, the rumors coming out now are that the Big 12 and the Big 10 are trying their best not to look predatory, right? Because looking predatory makes you look desperate. Neither of those the Big 10 doesn't need to be desperate. They're fine. And the Big 12 doesn't want to appear desperate because desperate's not a good look, right? It's just not a good look. That's why I tell the younger, more formidable out there, hey, if you find a pretty girl who's paying interest in you, the last thing you want to do is fall head over heels and become desperate because it's a real bad look, right? So the Big 12 doesn't want to look desperate, but at the same time, they've got to be ahead of the SEC and the Big Ten if they want to make money moves. So they are, according again to rumors, conducting their initial investigations into whether the remaining Four Corners schools will fit into their conference. Why not Oregon, Washington State? It is because, as of right now, the rumor is that the Big Ten is having interesting conversations, or at least their early appraisals of those schools about moving the Big Ten there. So there's one more reason that the three corner schools having conversations about jumping together to the Big 12 is interesting. Colorado moves over, and it has become known now that the Big 12 wants to stay at an even number. If they want to stay at an even number, they have to add an odd number of schools because they're already at an odd number, which means likely that they have to add either one school or they have to add 3 schools. There are 3 remaining Four Corner schools, which do 2 things. Number one, they basically corner that entire part of the United States for you. There's not another school in that market that the Big Ten or the SEC are going to be interested in. And right now, it's a geopolitical battle. So the Big 12 can corner a large chunk of the Southwest, can corner the Four Corners market, right? For the most part, there's still BYU, there's Utah State, but BYU wants to stay independent. Utah State, not really as attractive as Utah right now. Not saying they never are, but just right now. So it effectively corner that area of the market for the Big 12. And for a texter yesterday that wrote in, I believe his name was Ron, if I recall correctly, it establishes some geographic rivalries for you. It lets you keep a little bit of that old school college football feel. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up this weekend, it is the battle of the Four Corners. Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, Colorado. You get round robin Four Corners action every single year, so you get that regional rivalry feel, but it also gives you a large chunk of the college football watching market in the United States that is at a minimal threat from the Big Ten or the Southeastern Conference. So will they move? Won't they move? I don't know. We're going to find out. The question mark here is, what does all this mean for the Atlantic Coast Conference? Because now those rumors we heard earlier this week, rumors that, again, by the way, respectfully, I don't believe. The rumors are picking up that FSU, that Clemson, that Miami, that North Carolina are keeping an eye on moving around, on jumping ship to another conference. And I'm not ready to believe it. But if these other 3 Four Corner schools move to the Big 12, that could be interesting. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Got a few more thoughts on that. We can get to yours as well. We'll get some Major League Baseball trade deadline in here. We'll have the quotes from Aaron Rodgers on Sean Payton and a whole lot more. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. I'm Rob. He's the great one. The Rob Brown Show's on the radio. It's the Fan Upstate. This chair.
That chair over there's got fresh wheels. Just saying.
I know, but I can't be losing 3 inches a segment.
I don't think that does that. Are you sure? Mm-hmm. It does look awful low. But. You can go trade for chairs if you want. But it'll be too obvious if you bring a chair in here from elsewhere if it doesn't have new wheels on it. We haven't put new wheels on anything else yet. So.
Cincinnati Reds have been the feel-good story in Major League Baseball, with Ellie De La Cruz leading the way. The Reds are in first place in the NL Central, and best of all, Cincinnati is an astounding 11-1 against the spread in their last 12 games. The team just keeps covering the run line. And get this, they're 57-25 this year as an underdog on the run line. The Reds are the easiest money in baseball, and it doesn't look like this trend is going to stop. I'm Krista Crick. Up with you.
At Granger, we're for the ones who pay attention to.
All right, I'm gonna grab a water. Y'all stay right there. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Consumers struggling with
All right, dudes and dudettes, we're back.
Tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171.
Got chronic joint pain but want to avoid steroids and surgery? Take some advice from pro football legend Emmitt Smith. Call QC Kinetics.
Let QC Kinetics help you improve your quality of life with biologic therapies that get your body to repair and restore damaged tissue.
These exciting new regenerative treatments from local medical professionals can help your body heal itself with lasting pain relief.
Trust me, you want to avoid surgery if you can. Check out these biologic treatments to see what your options are.
QC Kinetics, restorative, regenerative solutions with no downtime, no surgery, no drugs.
I'm talking about joint pain we all can relate to in your knees, your shoulders, your hips, and your lower back. They'll get you feeling good again.
Get relief now.
What are you waiting on? Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772.
The second half of the baseball season is here, and each game means a little bit more. We're talking pennant races and wild card chases, with each pitch bringing us closer to the playoffs. The free Odyssey app lets you listen to live play-by-play of your local team. So no matter what you're up to, you'll never have to miss another game. Download the free Odyssey app today and keep baseball close by all summer long. That's AUDACY. Odyssey.
Mad World Haunted Attraction is back and bigger than ever. Don't miss the largest ticket sale of the season, Friday, August 18th. All tickets will be 35% off for one day only. Save big online at madworldattractions.com.
Sponsored by Jeff Martin Auctioneers. Don't miss the Jeff Martin Auctioneers Automobile Auction in Pelzer on Saturday, August 12th.
If we get out of this one at like 36, does that time out right?
Experience the difference.
Sure.
License 4283.
Coming up on a Super Tuesday
Okay.
episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel. Diesel and I will give you our best guess as to what the end game looks like when realignment is actually done in college football. We've got our ACC and SEC team preview series. We've got Can We Stop and so much more, all on a Super Tuesday episode.
Number one for real afternoon sports talk.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
3 to 7 on the Fan.
Upstate.
Always streaming wherever you are on the Odyssey app. Make the Fan Upstate a favorite.
Yeah! The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob. The great man Lonzo is over on the other side of the metaphorical glass. He's in charge of not just this radio show, but every radio show everywhere. Only the good ones. He's not in charge of the bad ones.
Yeah, I pass on those.
Yeah, for sure. All right, a couple of texts that have come in so far. Texter said, are we going to talk about the show coming on tomorrow night? If you were talking about AEW Dynamite, probably will get brought up as we get set for Saturday Night Collision. Though I will tell you that you should probably tune in on Thursday for Fight Club with the great Lonzo as we do full breakdowns of all the shows. Plus, we had a really good UFC card this past weekend we might dive into as well. And we got 2 tickets today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday for AEW Saturday Night Collision that we will be giving away to some lucky listeners who get to go watch some wrestling up close and personal. And, of course, for those of you that are just tuning into the show, All Elite Wrestling star Darby Allin will be joining us coming up in the next segment of the show. And for the record, will be joining us live on the stream. So for those of you on the stream, you'll get to hang out with us. For those of you not on the stream, you should join it at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate by searching and subscribing to The Fan Upstate on YouTube or The Rob Brown Show on Twitch. You will be able to watch our interview with Darby Allin, who will be live on the stream with us. So looking forward to that coming up here in just a minute. Let's talk Clemson and FSU, Miami, North Carolina, how the ACC is impacted by all of this discussion. And it's kind of interesting because the ACC has to be more aggressive than the Big Ten and the SEC if they want to hang on, because they do have a few schools that I think are primed to be picked up by those 2 conferences. Clemson, of course, being one of them. I think Florida State, Miami, North Carolina are in that mix personally as well. And from what we understand, the ACC is indeed doing its due diligence as far as potential expansion. Now, you guys all know the backstory. It's tough for the ACC right now because the Atlantic Coast Conference has a media rights agreement that is in place until Rob Brown is legitimately and literally 50. Okay? I will be 50 threatening 51 when the current media rights agreement runs up. And here's the thing. The company with whom they have the media rights agreement has about 0% incentive to change that agreement, except and unless Florida State, Clemson, Miami, North Carolina all come to some agreement where they all decide to pay the exit fee and effectively wipe the top half of the Atlantic Coast Conference clean. So there's good news, bad news there if you're Jim Phillips in the ACC. The bad news is, yeah, it looks like FSU, Clemson, Miami, and North Carolina are at least willing to hear the possibilities to move. And there's bad news in that if they do jump over to the Big Ten or the SEC, there's a very good chance that those conferences could chip in to help cover the cost of the exit fee from the ACC. The good news, if you are the ACC right now, is that while you have no leverage in terms of the media rights deal, except for, hey, if you do not grant us a new media rights agreement, FSU, Miami, North Carolina, and Clemson are likely gonna bolt for greener pastures. And if they do, let's be honest, you'll be overpaying us for what's left, right? Now, again, I'm not blowing smoke when I say I genuinely believe that this year's ACC is going to be the best the conference has been since 2013, 2012. It might be the best ever. I mean that. I think Florida State is very close to being able to officially plant the "we're back" flag. Duke, 9-3 last year, and all 3 losses came by a single touchdown and 2-point conversion or less. Clemson's obviously still Clemson. They're not going anywhere. North Carolina has a Heisman favorite at quarterback and a coach that's figured out its offense. Pitt, under Narduzzi, is going to be a wild card this year. I think it could be the best the conference has been in a very long time. I like the direction Brent Key's got Georgia Tech. There's a lot going on. But if Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, and Miami all to bail the ACC and wipe the top of that conference slate clean, all those other schools will suffer. So Jim Phillips can go, hey, the current media rights agreement's not enough. And while you don't have any legal obligation or ethical obligation to renegotiate with us, we'd suggest you do. Because if you don't, our top 4 teams are 88 and out the gate. And if they bail, you will then be overpaying us dramatically. So either you can pay us enough to keep those 4, or you can not pay us enough to keep those 4, and you can pay us too much for the teams that are left. Now, is there incentive for FSU, Clemson, Miami, and North Carolina to bail? Yeah, there's incentive for every school and every conference that's not the Big Ten or the SEC to bail if the Big Ten or the SEC want them. And that incentive is the fact that the SEC is, over the next handful of years, going to get to the point where they are paying schools in the network of $100 million a year for playing football in that conference. The ACC in that same time frame, Lonzo, will be paying their schools about $30 to $31 million a year. Let me ask you a question. I'm real bad with money, but can you do more with $100 million than with $30 million?
I'm thinking probably anyone could.
Okay. I just wanted to verify that, because it seems like $100 million is a lot more than $30 million. It's a lot more than $31 million. So there's your incentive to jump. Now, obviously the Big 12 and the SEC, or the Big 10 and the SEC, have to want you, but Clemson's a program that's worth wanting. South Carolina's not going to want Clemson in the SEC. But that doesn't mean everybody else won't. And it certainly doesn't mean the Big Ten wouldn't love to plant a flag right in the middle of the Carolinas, right? So there are a ton of moving parts here. All of it driven financially, all of it driven by money. Who's going to pay me the most? Who's going to bring the most into us? Yada, yada, yada. And the 3 corner schools might now be the next trigger. I've said a while, I thought the next trigger was the Pac-12 media rights agreement. But I blew it. That is not correct. The next trigger is any schools in the Pac-12 deciding they don't want to wait anymore. Because as much as the number one driving factor in all of this, is money. 100% agreed. You know what the number 2 driving factor in all of this is? Stability. Would you say the ACC is stable right now? Nah, probably not. Would you say the Pac-12 is stable? No. It's a time bomb. It is a nuclear time bomb right now. The Big 12, of those 3, is probably the most stable and profitable. Let me rephrase that. Let me say this. Is the ACC stable? Yes. They've got a media rights agreement that runs through 2036. It's about as stable as you can get, right? Is a contract that lasts 13 more years. That's pretty comfortable. But there's a trade-off more often than not, right? The trade-off is, we're going to lock you in for 13 years. You don't have to worry about this until Rob Brown's 50. But there's also a cap on the amount of money we're going to pay you in that contract. So you take the gamble that I have long-term security, but I'm probably not going to make my full market value if I jumped around a little bit. So the ACC is probably the most stable, but the least profitable. The Big 12 is right in the middle. It's more stable and profitable than the Big 12. It's more profitable than the ACC, but not as stable. So they each have kind of a pro and a con going there. But here's the thing. If Clemson jumps to the Big 12 or the Big 10 or the SEC, right? They jump to the Big 10 or the SEC, they're absolutely stable. Those conferences aren't going anywhere, and we all know it. Everybody else is in an arms race to be the third conference surviving, to be the EEC. If they jump to the Big 12, they're still going to be Clemson. They're still going to be a national brand. They're still going to be nationally recognized. And as long as Dabo keeps being Dabo, they're still going to be ultimately competitive in the national landscape. They're fine. Same with Florida State. Probably the same with Miami. North Carolina is my question mark there. So stability's there, but is the profitability there? I don't know. So we'll keep an eye. We'll get some reports on what this Pac-12 meeting is about today, what gets said, if there is a media rights deal on the table or not. And if there's not, and those schools announce in the next 2-3 weeks or months that they're out too, the Pac-12 is dead officially. Oregon State, Washington, and Washington State probably split 2 to the Big Ten, 2 to the SEC, and we finally have our national super conferences. We'll talk about it soon. Coming up in the next segment, Darby Allin, star of All Elite Wrestling, joins us on the show as we get set for Saturday Night Collision. We'll also give 2 tickets away to that event coming up very soon on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Wade says Pac-12 and ACC should join conferences together. The Pac-12 and Big 12 almost did that a few years ago, but then the Pac-12 decided they did not want to do that anymore, and they walked out of that deal. Biggest mistake they've made in a very long time, because now the Big 12 is eating them alive.
Homer and Major League leading 89th RBI made it 2-1 in the 5th, helping the Braves join the 2019 Twins as the only teams with 200 homers before August. Atlanta began the game with 31 more home runs than the LA.
All right, I'm going to put that in Q. I get a rest.
Okay. All right, guys. We're going to step away for just a minute while we get Darby Allin set up. We'll be back right after this. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Darby getting set up. I'm sure he'll join us here in just mere moments from now.
You could throw your flip-flop at a bug. Ew, a bug, get it. But the chances of actually hitting it over there are statistically unlikely. Good thing nature's got your back. Stem bug killers combine powerful active ingredients found in plants like lemongrass and geraniol and scientifically engineer them into effective bug-fighting formulas, safe for use as directed around people, pets, and throughout the home. Stem, rooted in nature, optimized by science.
From the Ingalls Market Studio.
All right, guys, if y'all can hear us, we are coming back from break. Oh, there he is right there.
Yo.
Can you hear us, big dog?
Oh, yes, sir.
Beautiful. All right. We're coming back here in just a second.
Awesome.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Rob and Lonzo with you on a beautiful Upstate Tuesday afternoon. We are getting set up. This Saturday night, All Elite Wrestling will be live right here in the GVL at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena for Saturday Night Collision. A ridiculous card coming together for that show on Saturday night. And we are now joined on the stream by All Elite Wrestling megastar. I'm going with it. Darby Allin joins us here on the show. Darby, how we doing, young man? Welcome to the show, bud.
Yo, what up? How you guys doing?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm all right. I've gotten like 5 hours of sleep in the last 2 days, but I'll live.
Man, they woke you up early to come talk to us. I am so sorry about that.
That's fine. I love chatting to you guys. So this is beautiful.
I dig it. Darby Allin from All Elite Wrestling here on the show. Saturday Night Collision this Saturday at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena. And by the way, later in the show, we'll be giving away another couple of tickets to that. My man, let's start. I have been intrigued by your journey from where you were to where you are as one of the biggest names in a company that has been growing by leaps and bounds over the past few years. You had a period of time in your life where you're going to be a pro skater, period of time in your life where you were homeless in your journey to becoming a professional wrestler. Can you kind of tell us how this dream developed for you and some of the struggle you went through to become a superstar in AEW?
Yeah, man. I literally, the first year in wrestling, I literally sacrificed everything. I was like, I want to look at myself when I'm 30 years old and know I put everything into this, because a lot of people like kind of, half-ass it and stuff, and I never wanted to be that guy. So I literally moved into my car and just started hustling, and just, I don't know, dude, everything worked out really quick because I put so much into it so fast. But a lot of my background and, skateboarding and everything definitely helped set me apart, because nobody's like in wrestling has ever seen someone like me. So it's good to have that advantage, doing crazy stuff your whole life. It paid off.
So you talked about skateboarding also. I have a question for you. Do you ever hesitate? Have you ever, before you've done something in AEW where other people will go, oh my God, is he going to survive that? Or in skateboarding, have you ever thought for a second, or do you just do it?
You just do it, dude. If you hesitate, that's when you get messed up. Like, you just got to go for it. Like, literally everything I do, everybody's like, dude, like, do you worry about anything? Like, absolutely not. Like, and I think that's the reason I haven't been injured much. Like, everyone always says, you're not going to walk when you're 30. Like, I'm 30 right now and I feel beautiful. So I think a lot of that goes to just not caring and not thinking about things.
All Elite Wrestling's Darby Allin here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. And look, I love that, and I love that approach. But I got to think, Darby, like when you're picking out your spots, right? And you're like, okay, and whether it's during a match or you're thinking about it in the lead up to the match and you're going, I'm going to hit this ladder spot, or I'm going to coffin drop off the top to the outside to one guy. Even when you're thinking about these, whether it's in the match or leading up to the match, there's not a spot where you're like, dude, that ladder's real tall, bro.
No, funny story. When I climbed the ladder, when I was wrestling Jeff Hardy and I climbed that big ladder and I was about to front flip off it, I remember being on the top of that ladder and being like, I'm for sure going to the hospital tonight. And then I jumped off, and right when I landed on the chairs, I was like, whoa, that didn't feel like anything. So, but there's definitely times I've like kind of had to like think for a second, but it never stops me. So,
all right, I am an older person, and yeah, we're gonna go with that. So I'll be turning 55 next month. One of my the favorite wrestler of all time for me is Sting, and I have a request for you, and you probably won't listen to me, but I got, on behalf of all us older people, could you please make Sting stop? I mean, just like I think maybe you're a bad influence. I don't know, but when he's climbing up, you spoke of ladders. When he climbed up in a ladder that's in the ring and he jumped off I'm like, come on, man, Sting, stop, please stop. Can you please just ask him to back off a little bit, just a little?
Nope.
That is the best interview answer ever.
I literally can't put into words how important it is to just keep going like crazy. Because, dude, I don't know. Everyone's like, slow down. Like, it's not worth it. But, dude, like, the feeling you get when you do this stuff, you can't put into words. So, Sting's the same way, man. He ain't going to stop. He's 64 years old now, but, man, he's going to be jumping off ladders for a little longer. So.
I love it. Darby Allin here on the Rob Brown Show.
I don't know why I thought maybe.
Not a chance.
But you had to give it a shot.
He called that shot before Darby. He said, "I'm gonna ask him, and I know he's gonna say no, and I'm gonna ask him anyway." So way to own that, man.
Yeah, nope. That's the answer. Hell no.
I like it. Darby Allin here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. And talk to me a little bit about that. And it kind of harkens back to the first question. There was a point, and we are very different in our career choices. 99% of my time is spent being fat, sitting in a chair. But there have been points in my career where I've been like, man, I don't know. You're not getting paid a lot. The hours are bad. Do I want to keep doing it? But I keep coming back because I love doing this job and I love being in this role and in this profession. How many times during your career has there been a point where you've looked and went, man, like this is taking a lot out of me? And is it that passion for professional wrestling that keeps driving you back into a ring?
Yeah, there's never been a time I've second guessed anything because, I dropped out of film school to do this. And I knew once I dropped out of film school that, I thought my whole life I wanted to make movies. But once I went to film school, I was like, man, this ain't for me. I need to be doing something else. And I was always a fan of wrestling, but I never thought it was possible. But the moment I started training, I saw how possible everything was. So there was never a time I stopped. And I just remember working at the 99-cent store or Ross or all these places and getting fired all the time, man. So I was like, what do I have to lose? So it was pretty tight. Yeah. I never once thought about quitting. Never.
So people look up to you, especially younger kids. I don't drink, don't smoke, don't do any of that stuff. Never done any of that. And I know you've mentioned that you're a straight edge. How do you deal with that when a bunch of other people around you are doing that? How do you address that when they're like, yeah, come on, Darby, go with us, do this?
Well, nobody ever asks me because they know that I'm not doing it. So this ain't high school. This ain't peer pressure. And if someone tries to peer pressure me, I'll just tell them to screw off and just laugh. It literally doesn't matter. But yeah, that's the thing with wrestling. I don't even take an aspirin. I don't do anything. I just do ice baths and, dry needling and everything like that, which is acupuncture. But I just do a lot of that. I don't know, man. I think it's fun to see how far you can push your body without getting any help from substance. So, but yeah, if anybody tells me to party with them, I just laugh. So I'll be the craziest guy at the party and be completely sober. So
see, I want to thank you for that because I've had these conversations with people, maybe even someone in this room, that you haven't seen me normal. When you get to that level where you have to do that kind of stuff, then I can act like myself. And I don't think not too many people understand that.
Yeah, no, it's fun, man. I just like to, I think the main thing is I like to be aware at all times.
Darby Allin from All Elite Wrestling here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Let's talk a little bit about AEW and its growth. I was actually down in Jacksonville when All Elite Wrestling launched. I was there for the first Fight for the Fallen, which was an incredible event. And obviously I've been following this career. And what I've loved about AEW is it feels to me as a wrestling fan like a company that keeps being told, you can't. And yet they keep doing. When they launched All Elite Wrestling Dynamite, it was never going to be able to keep up. Now it's got a great contract that is on every Wednesday. When they added the show on Fridays, it was never going to work. Until now it does, even on a Friday night. And then when Collision popped up, it went to, you've got too much programming, you can't carry another one. And now here we are with not just Collision succeeding, but going on tour because of that success. And you've been a major part of that from the beginning. Do you kind of feel like your career personally and AEW kind of are parallel, and that's why this relationship works out?
Absolutely, dude. Just look at the numbers we're going to do in the UK. Like 80,000 people are going to be at that show. That's going to be insane. Like that just speaks volumes on, the company's been like 4 years. So it's just pretty gnarly. Like to me, to be a part of it from the start, but also to be a part of it, but let Tony Khan and AEW as a whole just give me the opportunity to just do whatever I want to do. And you can't get that other places. They just literally say, what do you want to do, Darby? And I'll do whatever the hell I want to do. So it's pretty awesome in that sense. So to grow with the company, it's an incredible feeling to watch it grow. So.
We just saw you in the Pillars match. When are you going to get a chance, just you and MJF one-on-one?
I don't know, man. I gotta maybe wait till his bromance with Adam Cole ends.
And what a ridiculous bromance that I love so much. Are you like us? You're just waiting for the inevitable stab in the back? Like it's all I'm looking at this point.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just concentrating on the TNT championship because I got that all out against Luchasaurus or Christian or whoever the hell holds that title. So, yeah, that's been a goal of mine, like to make that title mean something since day one. So right when I became TNT champion during the pandemic, man, I hustled to make that mean more than the world championship. So you bet yourself if I win it at All Out, I'm going to do the exact same thing again. So.
All right, I just got to say, I am rooting for it to be Christian because no one should wear turtlenecks, man. They should not wear a turtleneck.
You don't mess with turtlenecks?
No. Well, I've got a neck like the side. But yeah,
Lonzo's neck just goes into his head.
Yeah, it does. So, I mean, it wouldn't work for me. But still, turtlenecks are annoying.
Darby Allin here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. I do want to go back to something you said a second ago, which is, hey, Tony, AEW, they just kind of let me go. I have said for years that I think across all sports, Darby, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, soccer, wrestling, that the teams, and in this case, the companies that are the most successful are the ones who let the athletes be a part of the decision-making process and kind of feel like they have a hand on the wheel. And to me, good, bad, ugly, and different, AEW feels like it largely allows the wrestlers to tell the story as opposed to tell the story to the wrestlers to then go out there and do it. How important has that been to you and to the success of All Elite?
Dude, you take that with music or acting or whoever, whatever. When a musician's able to do what he wants to do, that's when he creates his best work. But if he's not, he's just doing cover songs. So literally, the fact that they let me do whatever I want inside the ring and outside the ring, that's a big thing with me. Is when I signed to AEW, I told them I want to do what I do outside the ring still. Because in the NFL, you have to sign a contract where you can't even snowboard. So Tony, I signed this contract and he's letting me take a car and jump over my house or climb Mount Everest. Literally, that's important to me. So it's pretty cool.
We are talking with Darby Allin from All Elite Wrestling. Real quick, I do want to go back because one other thing I've loved about this company is how great of a job, at least to me, it feels like, that AEW does with taking true veterans of this industry, guys like Christian Cage and Jake the Snake. And now we found out that right here in Greenville, we got Ricky the Dragon Steamboat showing up this weekend for a match. And not just trotting those guys out and making them the show, but utilizing them and their experience and knowledge, obviously Sting in this group too, to bring along the next generation of talent. I think this is something that other companies have failed to do in many instances by keeping the focus too long on the same guys and not growing the next generation. How big has it been for you with Sting and with the rest of these vets and these Hall of Famers and these legends that hang around the company? How big has it been for you to be able to bounce your stuff off of them, get their wisdom, get their knowledge while still being Darby Allin?
Yeah, no, it's a great feeling, man. But what you're saying with AEW showing the legends the respect, because a lot of places I feel like just use people up and spit them out, and then they're left with nothing. So it's pretty cool that AEW has these guys' backs. And as a wrestler myself, you feel safe growing in this company. You feel safe being around for a long time because you're always going to be treated with respect. But learning from these guys is like an awesome feeling, and I look up to them so much because they've, been in the business for like 40 some years, so if you say you can't learn something from these guys, you're wrong. So it's a great feeling, especially to have their respect after you put on your like a match and stuff like that, and to have them go, yo, Darby, like you're amazing, like you're killing it, like that's really important to me, man.
We are talking with Darby Allin from All Elite Wrestling. Last one, Darby, and then we'll cut you loose. You have mentioned a couple of times about your desire, your dream to climb Mount Everest, and we have seen you jump cars over things and skateboard through stuff that makes me shudder to watch. We have seen you go coffin drop off the top rope through tables, etc. What is it that drives Darby Allin to be that guy, that drives Darby Allin to accomplish climbing to the highest peak of planet Earth as your next big thing?
Dude, it's honestly like, it's just a goal to push myself to the absolute limits, but also to be the first ever pro wrestler to do certain things. So like, I'll be the first ever wrestler to climb Mount Everest. I'll be the first ever wrestler to be part of Nitro Circus, skate with Tony Hawk, jump my house in a car, and I want to go to space. Like, it's just, for me, it's important to push the boundaries of like pro wrestling and what you can accomplish outside the ring. And in return, it gets just more eyes on your company.
Love it. Darby Allin from All Elite Wrestling. AEW will be here in Greenville, South Carolina, coming up this Saturday, August 5th, for Saturday Night Collision. We'll be giving away a couple of tickets to that coming up here in just a minute. Darby, my man, it has been an absolute pleasure. We appreciate talking to you, man, and look forward to seeing you this weekend, pal.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on, guys. You take care, man.
You got it.
All right.
Darby Allin from AEW. And again, I'm going to go ahead and say it, at the end of the next segment, we're going to give away tickets because I'm not going to lie, that conversation was freaking awesome, dude. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, I gotta push this button. I gotta do that. Yeah.
Who wants to go to break?
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
can't we
yeah.
just hang out and talk more AEW?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It really was.
Turns out, Lonzo, we got another hour left. We might just do that.
We do.
I want to thank Danny, Darby, and everybody from AEW for setting that up. We will hopefully have a few more interviews coming up for you between now and Saturday. And at the end of the next segment, we'll give away another couple of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, man! Let's go!
Let's go.
It's going to be awesome. Back after this for the third hour of the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. That was awesome, dude. That was one of my favorite wrestling interviews because that was the most.
Well, the one question that I didn't tell you about is the straight edge question.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
As soon as you asked it, I'm
which
like, that's the one.
Some people.
Which is a
were,
great interview, by the way. Joey B. I can't play golf without taking to a lead. The fact that Darby is raw dogging ladder matches without aspirin is wild. Yeah, bro. If I walk up too many stairs, I gotta take something. And Darby's out here coming off the top of painters' ladders through tables like it's nothing.
I love that. Nope.
Can you tell Sting to stop? Nope.
Respond back to Danny, by the way.
Was that?
Danny.
Oh, he already bounced out. That was the extra
No,
camera.
no. If you go to private chat.
No, I saw it. But he's not in there anymore. That was him. That was they had the two on the bottom. He was one, but I'm gonna email him back.
Okay. Just make sure. I know you were going to, but I just,
We get the Redeemer.
Do we really?
Yeah. No, I mean at Collision, not.
Okay. Don't do that. Why you want to do that for, man?
I did ask for the Redeemer on our Collision.
That's like faking the throw. What are you doing?
For the record, for those of
you, what are you doing?
For those of you in the stream,
God.
I know I realized what I did, and I'm very sorry to you and all the listeners. When we were setting up these interviews, we got an email from AW, and they're basically like, "Hey, who do you want to talk to?" And my response back to them was the roster. They're like, well, we don't want to overwhelm your programming. I was like, dude, I'll just do the entire show Friday on the show. I don't care.
Yeah, that door over there is open. You can just walk right through it. Any of yins.
Just bring the whole roster here. Well, we got 3 mics. We'll just rotate through.
We know engineering. We can get a few more.
That's true. Chris,
I think-
why are there 42 mics in the Fan Upstate studio?
I think technically with the way Axia works, there are 4 Axia channels. That's 4 more mics and he loves the idea of trying to figure out how to make stuff work. So yeah.
I think it's got more inputs, right?
Yeah.
Also, at Saturday Night Collision.
Some people could share mics. I mean,
Also at Saturday Night Collision, not on the show, at least not yet, but I did specifically request, is TBS championship holder Chris Statling. I'm a big stat stan. So I've done a lot of interviews, and like you get a lot of interviews where the dude or chick is cool. That was probably the most genuine wrestler interview I've ever done. We've done some fun ones where the guys are like they're themselves, but like they're doing an interview.
So in case
interview that felt like a conversation.
in case you're listening, Gunther, I found you genuine in every way.
Okay, you know what? That's fair. I'm putting them on the same tier. Good call. Forgot about that.
Because I would rather not be chopped.
Good call.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put them on the same tier.
Yeah, because
Gunther and Darby.
If you want to show up and chop Rob for that, I'm fine with that. I just want you to know. Just be careful about who you call sincere and insincere, because he's a large man. It was a great interview, though. It was a lot of fun. Look at that. We're just a little bit late. Oh, yeah. Oh, crap. I forgot to do that thing. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Come on. Hurry up, Colette. You can do this. Help me out. Oh, come on. Thank you.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour. The Rob Brown Show goes now, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, y'all. Good to have you. Thank you very much for hanging out with us here on the show. That was a wonderful interview.
I'm your huckleberry.
Yes, indeed. That was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful interview with Darby Allin. We were talking about this during the break, which is why you should watch the stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, on YouTube by searching and subscribing to the Fan Upstate, and hit us up on Twitch at the Rob Brown Show. I have done, Lonzo asked me a question yesterday. He said, what sport would you say you've done the most interviews out of, right? And the answer is runaway football, and it's not particularly close. Between all the media days I've covered, all the teams I've covered in person, football's the runaway answer, especially if you combine college and pro football. And number 2, I genuinely thought about it for like 2-3 minutes. I think number 2 is wrestling. And the list of wrestlers, and this is not a shot at any of them, it is a compliment to a few of them. Most, not all, most wrestlers are pretty good interviews, right? Because part of their job is doing that. It is as much about promoting as it is about wrestling. So most of them,
I'm trying to think of a bad one. And I can't really think of a bad one that I've done. And by the way, wrestling for me is number 1 as far as interviews go.
The only bad one I've done, and I hate to say it because he is a wonderfully nice human being. I've met him in person a number of times, but the only bad interview I've ever done is Mick Foley. And that was only because he called like 9 minutes late, told me I have 3 minutes, one-worded answered me to everything I asked, and then when we got done, got mad at me that I didn't promote his book for the 3 minutes of the scheduled 15 that he called in for, right? But I've also met Foley in person multiple times, and he's a wonderful guy. He was just having a bad day. So whatever. Most wrestling interviews are good interviews. Most are fun, right? Some of them shine. Some of them you get done and you're like, damn, that was good. Darby's on that list. Gunther is on that list. I would say since Zoe and I have gotten together on this show, those two are my top two. Now, Mark Henry was great. You know what? I'm going to add Paul White to that list too.
Yeah, especially because after the interview.
That's why I'm going to add the Big Show.
That was fun. And
we got off the interview with the Big Show, and he stayed on the stream with us because we recorded it after the show was over. We got off the interview. We stopped the recording with the Big Show, and then he sat with us for another 5-6 minutes, just telling stories and chatting and whatever. But once he came off the air, once we were done recording, Big Show had zero bleeps to give anymore. He was not only cutting stories, he was dropping the F-bomb. He was just like a super chill dude that it's like we've known him for years. He was tremendous. So I'm going to go Darby, Gunther, Paul, Henry. Those are my Mount Rushmore of wrestling interviews we've done.
See, I can't rank them all because I've also interviewed Booker T. I will probably always put Charlotte Flair number one because she sat over there and my mind went blank. And just because of that, just because I froze and the many years retired Greg McKinney laughed his butt off about it. But I got to put her up there. And I really did enjoy the Darby Allin interview, but probably my favorite of all time is Xavier Woods. And because he was the first that I ever got to interview and we got to talk video games also. So it was a double thing for me.
I love it.
And he went to the university that's right behind me.
Sure did. F you.
I'm not going to finish that.
One time. I bet Xavier would be great. I bet Big E and Kofi, like the whole New Day would be incredible. I have not gotten the chance yet. I hope I do. But, man, Darby was genuine. Let me put it this way. Darby attacked that. He was pleasant. He was kind. He was gracious with his time. He could have ended that interview 4 or 5 minutes before he did to move to the next one, but he gave us all the time we wanted. But at the same time, was just unapologetically Darby Allin. And I appreciated that, man. That was great.
Yeah, and I don't think you can really get someone to explain why they want to jump a car over their house, other than I wonder if I can jump a car over my house. Have you ever just looked at something and went? I mean, we have these conversations all the time. What if we did that?
Yeah.
I mean, he just actually does it.
Does it?
Yeah.
So I was going to say, I was a bit of a thrill seeker when I was like young and formidable and in shape, but I'm not anywhere near that guy, right? But yeah, I did I've done the skydiving. I have jumped off the high cliffs into the water. I've done all that stuff. And it's been a blast. And yes, if I was 25 and somebody said, Rob, do you want to jump a monster truck over your house? The answer would have been like, hell yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Absolutely. But I love Darby hitting us with, and again, look, I like to drink and have a good time, and I'm not apologetic for it. And I also am totally fine with people who don't want to do that. I am going to say this. For that dude to do what that dude does and then go, I don't knock aspirin, I don't do a leave, I just ice bath and move on. If I sleep the wrong way, I wake up in desperate need of a hot shower and a bottle of Advil. This dude's doing ladder spots off of 2-time ladders through tables like, no, I'm good, bro. Ice bath and a nap. I'll be fine. Get out.
See, I have similar reasons for not doing it that he does. If you read his backstory, you'll understand why he doesn't do that. And we don't really need to get into it that much. But I do want to say that it's rare that I meet someone who is like me in that aspect. And it's always good to get their perspective because there is peer pressure in that kind of direction. Well, you're a weirdo because you don't do what I do. And I think it's cool that he stands his ground and he does all that. And he's still someone that people can look up to and go, he doesn't do it. I don't have to do it. But at the same time go, I am never doing what he does because I am not jumping off of something that high. I'm not doing that sort of thing.
Let me tell you why that is interesting to me, because he is not the first straight edge wrestler, right? And in a left-hand turn, Also, who will be at Saturday Night Collision, CM Punk is a straight edge guy too, right? Doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't do drugs of any type, which again is fine. I think the problem has always been that Darby, I mean, is it part of his character? Yeah, kinda. The problem is straight edge dudes are very frequently represented by, and I'm not just talking in wrestling, I'm talking like in my life as well. Straight edge dudes are typically represented by dudes that tell me because I drink and have a good time, I'm a bad guy. Well, you can't do it without booze. Yeah, I can, just don't want to, right? It's a respect thing. And
I know you think that I'm like that sometimes, and I'm not. And we've had these conversations. You do whatever you want to do. All I'm saying is I don't have to do that to get to where it looks like some people need that to get to. I'm just crazy. And some people need to do that to loosen up. I don't need to do that to loosen up. I loosen up when other people loosen up.
Listen, so here's the thing. I think, and this is one of the reasons that I appreciate and respect Darby as well. You, and again, Royal you, I'm saying just to the whole crowd. So, all right, so many people that I've talked to in my life in straight edge, and I think sometimes you do this, if I may be respectfully upfront, take it personally, right? Like I'm not attacking straight edge. I never have and never would. If that's your bag, that's your bag. I don't care.
I'm not taking it personal.
Good, because it's not supposed to be.
Yeah, but there are times when you are not included in things because you don't do things, and it can make you feel left out. But you have chose to not do those things, and that's why you're being left out. So,
but I think that's true about everyone.
We need a straight edge society out there. A place where we can gather and like drink orange juice and stuff, and have conversations about things.
So all of that being said,
I'm just joking. I don't want to be a part of that club. I'm too much of an introvert.
I think it's always been made into it. That has always been made into a like a heel thing, right? Like, oh, you losers, you degenerates out there with your booze and your cigarettes, you losers. Like, it's always been a heel thing. And this is the first dude that's like, yeah, I'm straight edge and I don't give a damn if you drink. If you want to have a beer, have a beer. I don't care. I'm just not going to do it with you. I'll still hang out. Like, I'll still come to the party. I'm just not going to drink. Like, I think it's great that he can turn that into that element. All right. Tremendous interview. I will tell you, Lonzo, that I just got the email about an 90% set of guests on Friday that may be stopping by in studio with us.
Are they going to be somewhere else first?
I'm not going to say who they are or where they're going to be. I'm just going to say that don't expect them to flip through the door when they come in.
I'm calling in Friday.
That's fine by me. More questions for me. Can't wait. We'll see how that works out. Working with those guys now. We may also have one more that we record after the show on Friday and run back either Friday night or Saturday morning before the show. So we'll let you know.
Cool. Or I was going to say, well, I could run it back Saturday also if you know.
Oh, that's true. You could.
I could do that
while I'm watching.
And well, no. It doesn't start till 8. So if you put
dark matches start at 6:30.
I was going to say.
So I'll be watching.
So if you put that in the first block, people are trying to decide if they want to go or not.
That's true.
I'm just
sales pitch.
A pretty big signal too.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, there's that thing.
All right. Let's go. We got a lot more stuff to get into. I could have definitively and without question. I could have spent another hour with Darby Allin just talking wrestling. Like, those kind of conversations always feel bad because I want to talk to them about their personal life and how they got where they are. And his story is tremendous, by the way, and I loved it, and their passion for the game and all that. And then also, I want to ask about wrestling. Like, I could have done another segment of the question I asked Sergeant Slaughter last week. If you could make one major change to wrestling, what would it be? Are you more about the fights with stories behind them or the stories with fights behind them? Like, what's your preferred setup? These are all questions I would have loved to have asked him. And I suspect, fingers crossed, we do a good enough job filling up the well on Saturday. It won't be the last time we get the chance.
Well, I probably would have asked him, has he ever walked up behind Jericho and pulled his hair? But, I've got weird questions like that.
What an interview with Darby freaking Allin, man. Tremendous stuff. Thank you to Darby. Thank you to Danny. Thank you to All Elite for setting it up. And we'll have some more for you later on this week. Steven says, shout out to Michaela, my daughter, who's listening on the radio. Michaela, what's up? Good to have you, buddy.
Hi, Michaela.
Yeah. Good to have you, man.
By the way, I just want to mention that we're just a couple minutes away from giving away 2 tickets.
Sure are.
For this weekend's Collision
are.
show. So stay tuned.
Have had a couple of people hit me up on Twitter. What time? End of this segment, dude. End of this segment.
Also, shut up, Keegan. Whatever.
Keegan said, Lonzo, who won't fly on airplanes, him and Darby are the same dude for sure. Yeah. Yeah, big stunt guy.
It's on the inside, dude.
Yeah,
it's on the inside.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. Coming up in the next segment of the show, we're going to give away the tickets here in just a minute. But before we do, coming up in the next segment of the show, 2 things I want to knock through. Number 1, MLB trade deadline is today, 6 p.m., the final minute that players can be sent and received. We're going to talk about any of the big names. And if there's a chance, we found out that the Atlanta Bravos make a move today. I'll give you my thoughts on that. And a story that Zoe sent me last week, but I forgot to get to it yesterday. So we'll do it today.
Or he ignored me like
nope.
normal.
I genuinely had it in the show prep and just forgot.
To the point, I have no idea what I sent him last week because, you don't have to say anything. Let me be surprised.
No, I got to tease it. A quarterback in the Big Ten says that he was offered $1.5 million to play in the Southeastern Conference this year. Who is it? Who offered? I'll give you all the details we know when we come back with the Rob Brown Show. It's Rob, it's Lonzo, it's you.
Wait. Stop. Stop. Come on now.
The thing we just said.
Come on. We are going to give away 2 tickets to AEW Collision.
When are we going to do that, Lonzo?
We're going to do that right now. Absolutely. Well, in the next minute or so.
What a surprise that I absolutely did not know about until this very second.
Yeah, that's why I left it a surprise, and that's why I interrupted.
You got me.
If you are caller number 3, you'll have to hang on through Rob's reading of his live that he's getting ready to do because I won't be able to hear you. But if you're caller number 3 to the phone number that Rob's going to give you, I can do it, 844-326-3663, then you'll win the tickets. You probably skip the numbers again because I did it too fast.
But 2 tickets.
I said tickets.
To All Elite Wrestling Saturday Night Collision this Saturday night at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena. Caller number 3 right now wins them. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, got a live read. We'll be back in just a minute. All right, we back. Thanks for hanging out, y'all.
And if you're on the stream and you're also trying to call, we already got a winner. So, but
Yeah.
we'll have more tickets for the rest of the week.
You can say Rob's working hard to keep those tickets. No, he's not, because Rob bought ringside tickets for this event, which I don't ever do. And I'm glad I did for two reasons. Number one, the card is awesome. And number two, because the resale tickets on the resale prices on these things are like double what I paid for them now. To the point that I'm not telling my fiance that, because if I do, she's going to be like, well, then sell them and sit in the regular seats. And I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and good thing you're not saying it where anyone can hear you. And yeah, it doesn't mean people can't tell her.
She ain't listening.
We got some troublemakers in the audience, some rabble rousers.
You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. Wednesday, August 23rd, AEW is in Duluth, and it's going to be a Dynamite Collision double go-home show for Wembley. That night will be ridiculous, dude.
Is that Georgia?
Duluth? Minnesota?
Duluth? He makes it sound like it's within driving distance. I don't know.
Oh, it is in Duluth, Georgia. Joey B, my dude.
It just makes sense because of where he travels back and forth. Like I didn't pay attention during that truck ride. I listen for a living, man.
That's only a 2-hour drive, dude.
Yeah, it's still a 2-hour
Joey B,
drive.
we doing this? We doing this, Joey B?
I don't think he would mention it to you if he was.
Wednesday night?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you'll be really good the next day.
I might take the next day off.
You could do that.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob Alonso with you on a gorgeous Upstate Tuesday afternoon. Congratulations to Owen, who won a couple of tickets to Saturday night's All Elite Wrestling Collision. He will be in attendance. If you did not win, do not worry, because we got 2 more to give away tomorrow. We got 2 more to give away Thursday. We got 2 more to give away on Friday. Before we go, I will tell you that I have zero idea what time we're going to give away the tickets tomorrow. I will tell you on Thursday, it is more than likely that we will give away the tickets at the end of Fight Club.
All right, we'll go ahead and say, yeah, Thursday, that's when we'll do it. But tomorrow and Friday, you're just going to have to stay tuned.
I think we have to give them out towards the beginning of Friday so that our promotions team has time to enter them and get them sent.
We do, but I'm at odds with promotions. And, you don't tell me when to do something. Name that's almost Ray. Yes, it probably will be in the first hour Friday.
Yes. So if you have not,
I don't want none of that smoke.
If you have not won your tickets yet,
First time I've ever said that. I feel
it's good. It feels good, doesn't it?
It's
It
weird.
caught on for me.
It's a little weird.
It caught on for me. Catch these hands and catch this smoke. Both caught on for me.
Although that new faction, what's it going to be? You don't know. Okay.
From last Saturday, because I have not watched.
No. I'm talking about WWE now.
Oh, I haven't caught up yet.
The new faction that's being formed between Bobby Lashley.
Yeah. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Just bring back the Hurt Business.
You can't name it that.
Why?
It's got to be
It
something
was a
different.
great name. It was a great look.
It was, and certain creative just didn't know what to do with it.
True story. All right, let's get to a couple of things real quick, and let us start with this, because I think you guys are going to care more about this story than the trade deadline stuff. So if I have time for that at the end of the segment, I'll get to the MLB trade line.
I was going to say trade deadline for what?
Baseball.
Oh,
baseball. Major League Baseball.
Well, it makes sense you want to talk about that sins you have a nationally syndicated show.
Sure do. Every
on.
Saturday from noon to 4, Bet for the Cycle, hosted by former professional baseball player Cody Decker and me, Rob Brown. I did avoid, Lonzo, our next bet punishment, which is the losers have to get a belly button ring and wear it for a week.
Oh.
Yeah, don't love that. Don't love that.
Yeah, how's that work?
Like, for me, it's going to be a trailer hitch.
Yes, I was going to say, how's that work when you have depth? I don't know. Can you say you have one, but they just can't see it?
They're not going to be able to use a piercing gun on me. They're going to have to actually shoot me and then plug it with a trailer hitch.
I wonder if you've got like Otis depth, if they come in and they go, no,
you can't.
No, man. There's no point.
For those of you that aren't watching Bet for the Cycle every Saturday from noon to 4, you should, because it's ridiculous.
And believe it or not, I don't get paid extra money to be Rob's hype man. I'm just very proud of him, and you guys should be too. 2 years in a row doing a nationally syndicated show. He's the only one who can say that.
Maryland quarterback Talia Tagovailoa, the brother of Miami Dolphins signal caller Tua Tagovailoa, was, according to Talia Tagovailoa, offered by an SEC school $1.5 million to transfer, but he allegedly declined the opportunity. He said, quote, "It can be eye-opening, but I think for my situation, if I was in a different situation where maybe I didn't have a brother in the NFL or maybe my parents, I'd be in a different situation," end quote. Tagovailoa added that he consulted Tua about the offer before making the decision to stay at Maryland. He said, quote, "It would be hard for me to go another place and not be happy but have all the money in the world. I'd rather be in a place where maybe I don't have as much, but I'm happy and I'm here to work," end quote. Terrapins head coach Mike Loxley acknowledged that he was not certain whether Talia would come back until the trade deadline passed. Basically, he said, quote, "You hear the rumors, you know of the things that are going on out there behind the scenes. No, I was not comfortable until I saw him run out after that portal window closed up. But even then, a guy that's a graduate can still even go play somewhere else. I haven't had a lot of nights of great sleep," end quote. So I am going to have the exact same thing that I had when I talked about friend of the show, Shane Beamer, right? Which is, are you going to tell me the school? Are you going to tell me the names? Because if you're not, I don't believe you. Now, once again.
All right. So I get all that, and I get where you're coming from. So what does this do for him lying? How does this help him to come out and lie about it? Because what you're basically saying is he's lying if you don't name your source.
We're doing this same thing again. I don't believe you does not mean you're lying.
It absolutely does.
No, it doesn't.
It absolutely, just to you, it doesn't.
No, anyone that looks at a situation logically.
I don't think you can say anyone. I don't think you can
yes,
say
I can.
anyone.
There are 3 positions on any claim. I do believe you, I do not believe you, or you're wrong. I don't know why I held up these 3, but these are the 3. All right.
I just thought that was odd because that's, you know, most people don't do that. They go.
I don't know. It's the thing.
All right.
I do believe you. I believe.
Sorry, I diffused the tension. It's still there. Go ahead.
I believe you and your claim because you have provided me with sufficient evidence. I believe that you are lying, as in you are actively misleading me, or I do not believe you. You have not provided me sufficient evidence. As Rush said, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. I have made a choice not to believe
you were talking about the band. I thought you were about to quote Limbaugh. I was about to fall out my chair. Even though you do it all the time and people don't get it. The way you pronounce certain words. Yeah. But go ahead.
College Camp I. That's where I picked that from. I used to listen to them all the time when I was younger.
And there's a few things.
Well, Eagles is a Philly thing. Anyway, point is, I'm not accusing Talia Tagovailoa of lying.
All right, let me ask you. So can you also say that some people would think that that's what you're saying?
Yes, but those people are A, wrong, and B, not listening to me.
Okay.
Because I've explained my position, and my position is I do not claim that he is lying.
All right, this is semantic, I guess, but it's not.
No,
what I'm about to say. So if you have to explain it every time, maybe you're the only one who thinks that way.
It doesn't.
If you have to explain it every time because people think that you're saying something that you're not.
But that's a them problem.
So everybody else is wrong and you're right.
If you tell me you own a horse, right? I don't believe you. I am not saying you're lying. I'm saying I don't have a reason to actively believe you. Now, all you have to do is come to my house and see my horse. And then I'll go, oh, Lonzo does have a horse. I am not saying you do not own a horse. I'm just saying that I don't believe that you do. Those are 2 different positions.
It was nighttime when you were there. So, I mean,
like I said,
you didn't see the back 40 or the front 40 or
back 40.
Yeah.
I do not, I am not accusing Talia Tagovailoa of lying because I don't know. He might be telling the truth. And I acknowledge there is the possibility he is telling the truth, and there's the possibility that he's not.
So
and I am not saying he is truthful or is lying.
So because of my position, your position is because of my position, I automatically think he's telling the truth.
Do you believe him?
I do, because I don't see the advantage of him bringing this out. What is the advantage of him throwing this out into the public? Does this advance him in some way? Does this what usually people will come out and say something because it will advance them, or they're exposing a truth that some people believe doesn't exist.
So here's my thought.
And do people come out and lie and they're found out later? Yes, they do.
Okay. So here's my thought. A couple of things. Number one, and I'm going to use the royal you here. Your inability to not be able to come up with a reason that he would lie.
At me.
It's a royal point. It's a sweeping point. Your inability to not justify someone lying does not mean they don't have a reason to lie. It just means you don't know what it is. Again, I'm not accusing him of lying. I'm just saying I do not believe that he is. I don't believe his claim. Not saying he is lying, not saying he's telling the truth, just saying I do not have a reason to believe the claim. Okay? So, just like you telling me anything else.
So why are we talking about it then?
I'm trying to get to that. Is this is a claim based on his wording that a school reached out to him and offered $1.05, right? A school did. That is not acceptable. Now, there's only one way that we stop this from happening. What is the one way we stop it from happening? We drop the hammer on someone who got caught doing it. Now, if Talia Tungavailoa did indeed catch a phoner from an administrator on campus somewhere who said, hey, baby Tua, we got $1.05 for you to come play for us, then in this case, there is an opportunity here for Talia Tungavailoa to do a really, really good thing for college football, which is to bring the band hammer down on somebody. And not just on somebody, Lonzo, but on somebody in the Southeastern Conference. The conference, right? And all he's got to do is go to the NCAA and pull out his cell and go, here's the text from so-and-so where they offered me. Here's the date and time of the phone call where they offered me. Here's the email or the Discord or the whatever, the WhatsApp or whatever, where so-and-so offered me $1.5 million to come play football in their yard. But he's not doing that. Now, maybe he's not doing it because he doesn't want to have an entire fan base hate his guts, because they would. I think all of us have had a friend who got into an ugly breakup and they were the bad guy in the relationship and in the breakup, but we still picked their side because we've known them a very long time.
I get why you wouldn't want to throw Vanderbilt under the bus. It's a prestigious school.
Sure.
And, you don't want people
I'm sure
knowing.
Vandy was handing out $1.5 million.
That Vandy,
For sure.
I mean, they wanted to make their school legitimate. And so they went, here's the.
Let's say.
I do get what you're saying, that if he brings it out, he will expose a fan base in school, and that school will supposedly be in trouble. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll get in trouble at all. But why say it at all? Why say it at all? So he should have just kept it quiet.
It's up to him. I don't know. I don't know why he would bring it forward.
If you had that information, you would keep it quiet. You just wouldn't say anything.
Me?
Yes, you.
No,
personally.
I'd bring the band hammer down.
So you
100%.
would actually expose it.
100%. But I'm also saying,
even if it might hurt you in the future, if you become that guy, you become that guy in the history of football.
Okay. Let me finish what I was saying, which is today, as a 38-year-old man who cares more about the game than my place in it or any individual's place in it, yes, I would bring that information forward because I'm 100% on board with NIL, but I'm also not down with schools being allowed to hand out checks because NIL helps the players, but NIL coming from the schools hurts college football, in my opinion. So I'd bring the hammer down. But if I was a 21-year-old player with draft aspirations, with NFL aspirations, yeah, I probably would not, right? And on top of all of that, we have all seen what some fans in college football do when they feel like someone else has slighted their school. They lose their damn minds.
Killing a tree, man. They're killing a tree.
Nobody wants to get Harvey Updiked. All right? Nobody wants to get spiked.
It was such a beautiful tree.
It was a beautiful tree.
It was.
And the new ones are beautiful too on the campus at Auburn University, Opelika, Alabama. It's a beautiful campus. It really is. So imagine what happens if Talia Tagovailoa goes to the NCAA and he brings the hammer down on Georgia. Let's say it was Georgia, hypothetically speaking.
Yeah, make sure you throw out the hypothetical.
Hypothetically. Let's hypothetically say that hypothetically Talia Tagovailoa hypothetically goes to the NCAA with hypothetical proof and hypothetically proves to the NCAA that hypothetically Georgia hypothetically offered him hypothetically $1.5 million hypothetically to play football hypothetically.
Yeah, misquote that, you losers. Good luck. If you can chop that up, I want to have a
worker.
I mean, you're pretty good.
Let's say hypothetically he did that. And let's say hypothetically the NCAA brings an SMU caliber punishment down on Georgia and they are not allowed to play in postseason for 5 or 7 or 10 years because of this, right? Do you think Georgia Bulldog fans are going to be big Talia Tagovailoa fans? No, and some of them are stark raving lunatics. So no, I don't want assassins coming to kill me and then over my body, hypothetically, right? So the answer is, I do not know why Talia Tagovailoa would or would not make it up. I do not know why Talia Tagovailoa would or would not come forward. I do not know why Talia Tagovailoa would or would not give the deets. Here's what I do know. He said it in front of the press. He told the story. And just like with anybody else doing anything else, anywhere else, if you aren't going to give me proof, I'm not going to waste my time with your claim.
I'm going to dub that the media tone. That's what that is.
That's not media. That should be literally every person on planet Earth should, when given a claim, immediately say proof or no, right? If somebody calls you and they go, hey, Lonzo, I got a $500 bill if you meet me out back of the Haywood Mall today. Are you going to go, why would he lie about that? No, you're going to go, okay, prove it to me and I'll show up.
No one calls me Rob. So I'll not try to kill the bit. It's true because I have
the bit killer.
I have no friends.
That's your gimmick, the bit killer.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's just because I
kill bits.
No, because no one would call me and tell me they have $500.
The point here is, if someone tries to make a claim that impacts you and your life, you should demand proof of the claim before you accept it, frankly, or reject it. Now, if there is no evidence, you reject the claim. That's how it works.
All right. Rob, I play a lot of video games. I don't know if you knew this. And some of my favorite video games is where you have to solve things, like say you're Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And, if I were Batman, I would be wondering why he would come out and say this in public. What is the benefit for him, or what is he trying to say? Because again, why would you say this? What is the purpose of telling this? A lot of people, not Rob, but a lot of people believe that the universities are involved in the money thing.
Sure. And you're welcome to. And just like I said to Shano and now Talia, either prove it to me or you just have a theory with no proof. All right. I could say, I believe that, and I'm trying to come up with one on the fly and suddenly my brain is blanking.
Yeah. I'm the big killer, but your analogies never work either.
My analogies work flawlessly every time.
No, they don't.
All right. Here's where it comes down to. You can make all these claims. 100%. And so Keegan floated a theory. He's trying to get more eyes on him for the draft later. Why is he worth $1.5 million? Let's watch him. Oh, that's the guy that got offered $1.5 million.
Okay.
That is a fair theory.
That would make sense, I
100%.
guess. I guess.
That's a fair theory.
And if that's the reason why he's doing that, he should have thought it through a little bit more, because now he's going to get other scrutiny on everybody by saying that. And now other people are going to, some of us who actually believe that this is happening might actually check into it and might find some real evidence.
For the record, good. I hope you do. Because I have heard since that NIL started, these schools are paying. Fine.
You know who's going to find out? The government, because they always find stuff out.
Good.
That was sarcasm.
Good. I hope that somewhere somebody finds a school that is signing checks from the administration and passing them on to players, and then the NCAA just SMUs them out of existence, because then nobody else is going to take that risk, or at least nobody with a brain is going to take that risk.
When this is found out, not necessarily this situation, but when it is found out that it's true, that some of us believe that is the truth, when it's found out, there will be a collective slap on the wrist to whatever university did it, because I and at least 3 people like me believe that quite a few universities are doing this. So if they crack down on one, they'll have to crack down on all of them. And until someone truly exposes what's going on, enjoy all the money you can get. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Let me work backwards in this statement and start by saying that sometimes conspiracy theories are proven true. However, what you have here is a conspiracy theory, and what we do not do is legislate and govern based on conspiracy theories. You do not know what you are claiming is a fact. You believe it to be a fact, and that's fine, but you do not know it is a fact, because there is an ocean of difference between knowing a thing and believing a thing. People believe in things that are wrong all the time. No one knows a thing that is wrong.
First of all,
because if you know it to be true, it must be true.
Trying to figure out which finger I should be following. And while you were talking, here's what I heard. Ack, 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 ack.
That's fine. I'm still right. Your refusal to accept a fact is not my problem.
By the way, you can't prove that I am wrong, and I can't prove that you're right.
No, see, here's the
and
difference.
the vice versa.
Here's the difference. I'm not the one making a positive claim that something is definitively happening. It is not my job to prove you wrong. It is your job to prove you right.
Okay. I didn't say it, by the way. Talia Tonga said it.
And the same burden of proof applies to him. He can prove
is he
that
being
he's
chastised by anybody else other than you?
I don't know, and I don't care.
Okay.
That's not my business.
Center of the universe.
I don't care. Me and Tiffy, all right? I don't care. Talia Tagovailoa can either prove that he was offered $1.5 million to come play football in the SEC, or I'm not going to believe him. I'm not saying he's lying. I'm just not actively going to believe him. And those are two different positions to take.
The truth is out there, Rob.
Again, prove it to me, and I will be the first in line to call for the ban hammer on the school that it is proven against, even if it's my own. Bring the hammer down. But until you prove that someone deserves the hammer, we don't use the hammer.
By the way, I was a two-handed hammer, because if you're going to bring it down, you're not going to use some measly little claw hammer.
Let's take a break. When we come back, you'll see. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's the Fan Upstate.
You have no idea what to call it. That's why he said that.
I was just going to call it with the X.
Yeah.
I think with the X. I just didn't want to convince you. I know you told me, but I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, you still don't know either. So, I mean, yeah. Hey, Keegan, I was not being disrespectful of a tree. You go out and hug all the trees you want, and you tell me if they hug you back. Wow, now we can't go in the office and talk wrestling because we already talked wrestling today. And you know, you can only talk wrestling for so long. Oh, yeah, wait a minute. No, that's not true. You can talk wrestling forever. You know, the worst thing is when you know that you're right, but because of limited vocabulary, you can't actually put forth how you really – it's in your head, but you can't do it. He doesn't have that problem. I do. There was a time when I was actually pretty smart, but too many blows to the head took all that away. And I can't get – I mean, I could go back to a higher school of learning, and I've seen older people do that, but it's not going to make me any more money, so what's the point? Ooh, why is that trending? By the way, I got an email from the big boss earlier, which is why I was laughing.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't a bad email.
Well,
we
it's
not know if it's a bad email yet?
Black Sabbath with Ozzy Osbourne gets the comic book treatment. So he sent me a story about Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne being made into a comic book, which means I've been noticed. You know, you like flying under the radar, but I've been mentioned a couple times, and you can't go back to anonymity once you've been recognized, I suppose. Maybe find a better disguise. He also sent it to another salesperson, and I wonder why he sent it to him. A sales dude that's your friend. Why'd he send it to him too? Is he a secret nerd? Ooh. Maybe I should ask him.
He was not.
Okay. Wow. You said that with conviction.
Because he's not.
You know what? If you're a secret nerd, then people don't know.
I would know.
Yeah.
If you're going to out yourself as a nerd, I'm the safe one to do it to.
I suppose you're right. There may be some sales involved in it. I didn't see if it was a local thing. It might be a local.
You know what? I actually think, I don't know. I want to say I heard him doing something.
There's a few things that
video game store.
I was going to say there's a few things that he's tried to sell me on that I can't do.
Yeah.
And they're all related to that sort of thing. So maybe you're wrong. Nothing. The end of the show, I suppose. It was Rob.
What's better than a Frosty?
Two Frosties. Oh, I think my left eye is about to close. Sinuses are awesome.
Uh-huh. They've been killing me for the last couple weeks.
He says, and then he automatically rubs his eye again. Oh, I forgot to do that. Hold on. No time now. This guy talks so fast.
Weather brought to you by Express Employment Professionals. Don't go it alone in your job search. With nearly 20,000 job openings, Express Employment Professionals can help you take the next step in your career. Visit expresspros.com today.
From the Ingles Market Studio, the Fan.
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Almost live from the Free Odyssey, CBS Sports Radio. Now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
It's time for What the X. And Rob's going to tell us what the X is going on.
That's good work, Lonzo.
Thank you.
I had no doubt it was going to be good. That was good work. Question is, how long do we – oh, excuse me. Good time for that. How long do we run with that before we just have to change it?
To just the X part? I was thinking about that. But, we're now on at 9 a.m. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Sure are.
I don't know if you knew that.
Sure are.
At our new time at 9 a.m., which has been our new time for how many years now? Going on 2 years? But it might just, it's at least a year and a half. Anyhow.
KBZ Mellon popped in the stream and said, what's poppin'? Saints are winning the Super Bowl this year. Hey, future first ballot Hall of Famer Derek Carr has got him.
Well, you got that, don't you? All right, the first thing that is Xing yo
is good gravy. All right, so I saw something about this earlier.
I didn't click on it because it's good. It's gravy, man. And I just wanted to ask,
Not a gravy guy?
Rob, what's good gravy? Oh, I love gravy. Are you kidding? Look at me.
I got real work.
Look at me. Come on. I ooze and sweat the gravy right now.
What is good gravy? So first off, the best gravy starts with a dark brown roux. And if you got a good roux going, then you can turn it. You can either leave it a thin roux for like your gumbo or whatever. Or,
I was going to say, what's a street have to do with it? But French joke probably wouldn't work here.
No, I mean it's a French word. So, but I
which means street, by the way.
I'm a big yes, I'm aware. I am a big I'm a big gravy guy. I saw this trending earlier before the show started, and it had something to do with like a roller coaster or something that is opened up that is called the Good Gravy Coaster. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it comes from.
Is it like a flume or something? And instead
No,
of
it's a
water,
roller coaster.
instead of water, you go through gravy?
Which would be hilarious. No, it's a let's see. Hollywood World Theme Park in Indiana announces the Good Gravy Coaster, a 1,500-foot ride in the world's largest gravy boat that starts in a mock-up of Grandma's house.
Oh, dude. I mean, that's so it does
We're all
have to
going
do.
to Indiana.
It does have to do with actual gravy.
There is a VR ride along of this roller coaster that does come out of the back of what appears to be a grandmother's house, and then takes you on a full wholesale pipe roller coaster.
Well done, Indiana.
Yeah.
Well done. The next thing that's trending is Kate Upton.
All right. So Kate Upton.
I just want to say again, I didn't click on Kate Upton because there would be nothing but pictures of Kate Upton. And I don't know what engineering would think about that. So,
I will take that hit for all of us, y'all. I will take that hit for all of us. But no, the reason Kate Upton is trending, I actually know this one, is because Kate Upton is the boo of one Justin Verlander. Justin Verlander, a pitcher for the not good at baseball New York Mets. And Justin Verlander is one of the players that is expected to be moved. Well, scratch that. Not expected to. It is thought could be moved today before the trade deadline at 6 p.m. Max Scherzer has already been moved. He is now a Texas Ranger. The thought is the Mets might go ahead and make the move to send Justin Verlander down somewhere else as well. And, of course, that would mean that Kate Upton finds a new place to live. For those of you weirdos out there, no, she is not back on the market. Everybody calm down.
she's moving to your neighborhood, yo. The final thing that's trending is Doris Burke.
Doris Burke got a promotion, if I recall correctly, as ESPN has once again started to shuffle up their basketball programming. I believe Mark Jackson is out now, and Doris Burke's going to move up into his spot, which is great. Doris Burke's actually really good. She is actually really good. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again, but better don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. See you back here tomorrow on The Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later. Yeah! That, kids, is how you do a mediocre and acceptable radio show.
Rob and I are not hugging because that would be weird.
I might not ask permission. There goes that man. There he goes.
That's so wrong, Keegan. That is so wrong. So the best NBA announcing crew no longer exists. Did you not like them?
Mark Jackson.
liked
Mark Jackson. I will put in the category of fine.
Him and Van Gundy together. I thought they had really good chemistry and good back and forth and stuff. Sometimes I don't think they had a clue what they were talking about, but I just thought the chemistry was good.
I think that if you put anybody with Van Gundy, they're going to have good chemistry because that's just Van Gundy. He's just a dude that it seems to me is easy to work with in that role. I think anybody could slide into Mark Jackson's chair and be carried by Van Gundy. I am looking for somebody to slide in that chair and be able to go equal with Van Gundy, although you don't have to anymore because he doesn't work there anymore.
No, he doesn't.
They did. There was a report out yesterday, though, that the reason that Van Gundy got fired is because there was a increasing belief around the ESPN corporate offices that he was going to go back to coaching, even if it was going to be in an assistant role, that he would go back to the bench at some point. And they didn't want to have to do the whole shuffle if and when he did. So they just went ahead and let him go so he could do that.
I'm letting you go because you were going to break up with me. Yeah, that's yeah. Okay. All right.
You can't quit. You're fired.
Yeah. There you go.
That's basically it. All right, dudes and dudettes. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks again to Darby and everybody over at AEW who set that whole thing up. Tremendous interview. We appreciated it. We'll let you know when we get our next round of interviews scheduled. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. See you on X. Bye.